Chapter 1668. Do you want to go against the rules set by the four families? The Sioux family's old ancestor said with an ugly expression, "Rules? Ridiculous. Rules are set by humans. Now we can set new rules." The Chung family's old ancestor sneered, "That's right. Does the Sioux family want to stop us? That's great." Another sage state old ancestor said meaningfully. The Sioux family's old ancestor and Sioux family's old ancestor's face changed. The other party's intention was obvious. If the Sioux family insisted on stopping them, they could use this opportunity to destroy the Sioux family. "Gotcha!" The Sioux family's old ancestor clenched his fists and sighed. "How about we split the treasures in the storage bracelet equally?" "That's more like it. But that girl is receiving the inheritance. We have to interrupt her immediately and extract the inheritance. We'll split it equally among the four families." "That's right. We can't let the Sioux family take all the treasures," the other old ancestors said indifferently. "Don't go too far." The Sioux family's old ancestor roared. He was truly enraged. Like a raging lion, he stared fiercely at the other three families' old ancestors and roared. Forcefully interrupting the receiving of the inheritance will definitely result in a backlash. Only death awaits the person receiving the inheritance. Furthermore, the inheritance cannot be extracted. How do we know if we don't try? The Chung family's old ancestor said casually, "That's right. We'll know if it works after we try." Another old ancestor said coldly. Their eyes flashed with cold light. What did Su Lei's life have to do with them? Moreover, they couldn't let the Sioux family get the complete inheritance. Otherwise, when the Sioux family rose in the future, would there be a place for the other families in Gussa City? They knew that if they interrupted Su Lei's inheritance forcefully, she would definitely die and the inheritance couldn't be extracted. But their goal was to kill Su Lei. "You're going too far. Today I'll fight to the death. I won't let you touch the Sioux family's people." The Sioux family's old ancestor roared, his body emitting a terrifying aura. Su Lei had obtained the inheritance of the ancestral land and was the hope of the Sioux family. He couldn't let Su Lei die. The Sioux family's old ancestor stood beside him. Old man Su, I'm afraid you alone are not enough. I'll deal with this old man. I'll leave the girl to you." The ancestor of the Chung clan sneered. His body was also emitting a terrifying chi as he walked towards the ancestor of the Sioux clan. Their chi collided in the air, causing rumbling sounds. The patriarch of the Chung clan targeted the patriarch of the Sioux clan. "There's no need for the patriarch to deal with a little girl. I'll do it." Another clan, the leader of the Han clan, spoke as he walked toward Su Lei. The old ancestor of the Sioux family revealed a trace of despair in his eyes. The four old ancestors of the four great clans were all at minor Illuminant Saint realm, and none of them were able to do anything to one another. There was no way Zhang Xian could stop the other three clans by himself. A sinister smile appeared on the Hong family's patriarch's face as he closed in on Su Lei. Of course, he still held a trace of caution because what Su Lei had received was the inheritance of the mysterious Yin Dragon. He didn't know if the mysterious Yin Dragon's soul was still present. As for Lu Ming, who was sitting beside Su Lei, he was completely ignored by him. In the competition half a month ago, although Lu Ming had displayed terrifying strength, he was a stage 3 sage to be, an expert who had mastered the laws. He didn't take Lu Ming seriously at all. At this moment, Lu Ming opened his eyes, which were filled with coldness. "Get lost." The word "get lost" came out from Lu Ming's mouth. "Brat, what did you say?" The patriarch of the Han clan was slightly taken aback before he revealed a sinister smile. "If you don't get lost, you'll die." Lu Ming's voice was even colder. How arrogant. "Then I'll kill you first." The patriarch of the Han clan was filled with murderous intent as he attacked Lu Ming with his palm. Bam! At this moment, Lu Ming made his move. He pounced on the patriarch of the Han clan and grabbed him with his hand. All of the attacks and defenses of the patriarch of the Hong clan collapsed in an instant. Lu Ming grabbed the patriarch's throat from above and slammed him onto the ground. Boom! The ground shook and a huge pit was formed. The patriarch of the Hong clan's bones were all broken. Not only that, Lu Ming's terrifying destructive force rushed into his body and destroyed his spiritual deity. Blood kept gushing out of the patriarch of the Hong clan's mouth as he stared at Lu Ming in disbelief. Then his head tilted to the side and he breathed his last. Everyone else at the scene was also stunned. Lu Ming actually killed the patriarch of the Hong clan, a stage 3 sage-to-be expert who had mastered the laws in one move. The patriarch of the Sioux clan's back was drenched in cold sweat. He was glad that he didn't attack Lu Ming back then. Otherwise, he would most likely end up like him. Brett, you're courting death. The patriarch of the Hong clan reacted. A terrifying aura erupted from his body, and a vast sage aura pressed down on Lu Ming. At the same time, the patriarch of the Hong clan took a step forward and attacked Lu Ming. A terrifying saber light slashed violently at Lu Ming. Stop! The patriarch of the Sioux clan roared. He wanted to help Lu Ming, but the patriarch of the Chung clan blasted out a palm and attacked him. He had no choice but to counterattack to protect himself. The terrifying saber light of the patriarch of the Hong clan was about to slash Lu Ming's head. Lu Ming's palm glowed and the flowing Yuan water jacket covered his palm. He raised his hand and grabbed the saber light of the patriarch of the Hong clan. The saber light suddenly stopped in the air. Slash! The patriarch of the Hong clan roared. His saint power surged and the power of laws erupted. He wanted to slash Lu Ming and his hand into two halves. However, the saber light still stopped in the air and stopped in Lu Ming's hand. It didn't fall even a little bit. What's going on? The patriarch of the Hong clan's heart trembled. His eyes were filled with disbelief. He was a Sage Realm expert. How could Lu Ming block his attack? Moreover, it looked so effortless. Bang! Lu Ming suddenly exerted force, and the other party's saber gleam shattered like glass. Then Lu Ming used the wind thunder steps and appeared in front of the patriarch of the Hong clan. He punched out. The flowing Yuan gloves glowed and the law of chaos erupted. It destroyed everything in its path. The patriarch of the Hong clan slashed out with all his might, but it was shattered by Lu Ming's punch. Bang! Lu Ming's fist landed heavily on the body of the patriarch of the Hong clan. The patriarch of the Hong clan screamed as a large hole appeared in his body. He flew far away and vomited blood. Whoosh! Then the black dragon's spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand and shot out. It pierced through the forehead of the patriarch of the Hong clan and nailed him to the ground. There was no sign of life in him. Dead. The patriarch of the Hong family was killed by Lu Ming just like that. At this moment, the rest of the people stared at Lu Ming in a daze. Their eyes widened in disbelief. A sage was killed just like that. Moreover, it looked so easy. They had only heard of a non-saint killing a sage in legends. But now, it was happening right in front of their eyes. They felt like they were in a dream. The second stage of the half-saint realm. The patriarch of the Chung clan mumbled to himself. Chapter 1669. Stage 2 half-saint. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. A Stage 2 half-saint was able to kill Lu Ming so easily. His combat strength was terrifying. Let's go! After a while, the rest of them came to their senses. They roared and retreated, wanting to leave this place. I've already said that you'll die if you don't leave. It's too late to leave now. Lu Ming said coldly. Light spots appeared on his body, and 36 holy weapons floated out. The battle weapon Qi gathered and reached a terrifying level. Whoosh! The black dragon spear returned to Lu Ming's hand and was thrown out by Lu Ming. It nailed the patriarch of a family to the ground. Lu Ming grasped his battle sword and stepped into the void, charging towards a Saint Realm old ancestor. Die! Lu Ming shouted and the divine sword art erupted. The Saint Realm old ancestor's body trembled. At the same time, Lu Ming's battle sword arrived. Puff! This patriarch of the Saint Realm was easily killed by Lu Ming's sword. Another Saint Realm expert had fallen. Only the Chung family old ancestor and patriarch of the Chung family were left. However, the two of them were entangled by the Su family old ancestor and patriarch of the Su family. Spare me! At the sight of Lu Ming walking toward them, the Chung family's Saint Realm patriarch was horrified. He begged for mercy loudly. Die! Lu Ming's eyes were cold, and the divine sword art erupted once again. The Chung family old ancestor trembled. Then, Lu Ming's battle sword slashed across him. The patriarch of the Chung family was extremely terrified and indignant. He was killed by Lu Ming's sword. Then, sword gleams flashed, and the patriarch of the Chung family was also killed. Previously, the Chung family old ancestor was the one who wanted to beg for mercy the most. Was that possible? At this point, the patriarchs and patriarchs of the other three families had all fallen. The patriarch of the Su family and the patriarch of the Su family looked at Lu Ming in shock. They were still in a daze. Dead. The Saint Realm patriarchs and patriarchs of the other three clans were all dead. Less than a minute had passed since Lu Ming made his move and killed the experts of the three major clans. Such astonishing battle prowess was simply beyond their imagination. Monster, a peerless monster, a true peerless monster. No wonder he dared to challenge the godson. Now, everyone in the Tsang state thought that Lu Ming would lose for sure and would be killed by the godson. But now, it seems like that might not be the case. The entire Tsang state has underestimated Lu Ming. Several thoughts flashed across the minds of the Su clan's progenitor and the patriarch. Then, both of them were overjoyed. The strongest experts of the other three clans had all died. From now on, Huingusa City would be a match for the Su clan. The Su clan was going to dominate Gusa City. All of this was because of Lu Ming. Thinking of this, the Su family's patriarch felt a burst of fear in his heart. Fortunately, he had changed his mind and planned a rope in Lu Ming. Otherwise, the Su clan would have been destroyed. Su clan's fate had been completely changed in an instant. The Su family's patriarch felt extremely complicated. However, he secretly swore that he would rope in Lu Ming properly and treat Su Lei well in the future. Lu Ming's heart was very calm. He leaped and collected the storage rings of the experts of the major clans. Lu Ming also collected the saint hearts of the three Saint Realm experts. Then he continued to wait. Not long after, Su Lei's body emitted a powerful aura. Then, the aura quickly converged and Su Lei opened her eyes. Progenitor, patriarch. Su Lei saw the Su family's progenitor and patriarch and quickly got up and bowed. Don't be so courteous, don't be so courteous. The Su family's progenitor quickly helped Su Lei up. Su Lei and Lu Ming were very close. He even guessed that the two of them might have a special relationship. How could he dare to let Su Lei bow to him like this? Su Lei got up and was even more shocked when she saw the corpses of the experts of the other three major clans. Let's go, Lu Ming said. The four of them walked towards the exit. In the next moment, they appeared outside the ancestral land. Outside the ancestral land, many people were waiting. At this moment, when they saw Lu Ming and the others coming out, they all looked towards them. Let's go back to the Su clan, the Su family's progenitor ordered. Lu Ming and the others all returned to the Su clan with the disciples of the Su clan. The disciples of the other three major clans waited outside the ancestral land for a long time. When they didn't see their progenitor and patriarch coming out, they suddenly became anxious. After that, they sent people into the ancestral land, only to find that the progenitor and patriarch of the three major clans were all dead. When the news came out, it caused a huge commotion in Gusa City. Everyone was extremely shocked. The progenitor and patriarch of the three major clans were all dead in the ancestral land. However, the Sioux clan was safe and sound. Everyone knew that Gusu City was going to change. The people of the other 3 major clans were all terrified. As for the Sioux clan's progenitor and patriarch, they started to make arrangements as soon as they returned to the Sioux clan. Gusu City should be unified now. However, this had nothing to do with Lu Ming anymore. On the second day, Lu Ming bid farewell to the Sioux clan's progenitor and patriarch. He was going to return to the divine Dragon Valley. "Senior Lu Ming, I'll go back with you," Su Lei said, now that her mother and her clansman status in the Sioux clan had risen. She naturally could rest assured. "All right." Lu Ming nodded and brought Su Lei out of Gusu City. The Sioux clan's progenitor and the others sent them all the way out of Gusu City. "Everyone, please go back." Lu Ming took out the void-piercing shuttle and entered it with Su Lei. The void-piercing shuttle shot out at lightning speed and disappeared in the sky. "Su Qi, regarding the matter of Lu Ming killing a saint, it's best not to leak it out before the battle between Lu Ming and the Divine Child." The Sioux clan's progenitor sent a voice transmission to the Sioux clan's patriarch. "Yes, progenitor." The Sioux clan's patriarch nodded. Only the 2 of them knew about this matter. They understood that the fewer people who knew about it, the better. If the Heavenly Divinity sect knew about it, they would probably put Lu Ming in a disadvantageous position. Now, they naturally hoped that Lu Ming would win. Lu Ming and Su Lei were so close. The stronger Lu Ming was, the more benefits the Sioux clan would receive in the future. In the blink of an eye, another 7 days passed, and Lu Ming finally returned to the divine Dragon Valley. "Senior Lu Ming, when are you going to the treasure pedestal meeting?" "I'll go with you," Su Lei said timidly. Her voice was soft and nervous, as if she was afraid that Lu Ming would reject her. "All right, I'll send you a voice transmission when I'm going to the Gray Mountain," Lu Ming said with a smile. Su Lei nodded repeatedly, her face flushed red. After that, Lu Ming and Su Lei parted ways, and Lu Ming returned to the Cloud Dragon Valley. "Master." As soon as he entered the Cloud Dragon Valley, he heard a crisp voice, and a petite figure rushed towards Lu Ming. "Xiang Xiang." Lu Ming smiled. This petite figure was his disciple, Xiang Xiang. "Junior brother, you're finally back." During this period, Xiang Xiang missed you very much and kept asking when Master would return. A heroic voice rang out as Long Yuanshan strode over. "Second senior brother." Lu Ming cupped his fists. Chapter 1670. "Second senior brother, you've broken through to the Saint Realm? Congratulations." Lu Ming looked at Long Yuanshan and was overjoyed when he saw Saint Force surging on Long Yuanshan's body. "Haha, I've only broken through to the Saint Realm after such a long time. Your third senior brother and the others have broken through to the Saint Realm long ago." Long Yuanshan laughed straightforwardly. "With second senior brother's talent, you'll definitely be able to break through to the Saint Realm in the future," Lu Ming said. Lu Ming had heard Tian Chue and Xuaningxi mention that Long Yuanshan had been seriously injured when he was young. That was why his cultivation progress was extremely slow and he was stuck at the half-saint realm. It was said that when Long Yuanshan was young, he went out to train with their eldest senior brother and encountered a strong enemy. In that battle, their eldest senior brother died while Long Yuanshan was seriously injured. This was also a knot in Long Yuanshan's heart and the resistance that stopped him from moving forward. Long Yuanshan smiled and didn't say anything. "Xiang Xiang, come, let Master see how your cultivation is." Lu Ming turned his gaze to Xiang Xiang. After more than a year, Xiang Xiang had grown a lot taller. She was already over 9 years old and looked slender and elegant. One could tell at a glance that she was a beauty. Lu Ming was shocked when he saw her and said, "Xiang Xiang, you've broken through to the spirit god realm?" "Yes, I broke through not long ago." "Xiang Xiang's cultivation hasn't fallen behind, right?" Xiang Xiang blinked her big eyes and said. Lu Ming's lips trembled. "Not only has it not fallen behind, it's simply amazing." More than a year ago, Xiang's cultivation was only at the peak of the martial king realm. In just a little over a year, Xiang had crossed several realms and broken through to the spirit god realm in one go. Even with Lu Ming's mental state, he was shocked by the spirit god realm at the age of 9. Haha, ninth junior brother, are you surprised? Xiang's talent is peerless and rare. If us seniors don't work hard, I'm afraid it won't be long before Xiang surpasses us. Long Yuanshan laughed. That's possible, Lu Ming mumbled, feeling a sense of pressure. As her master, if he was really overtaken by Xiang in the future, it would be too embarrassing. Of course, he was still very happy in his heart. Although there was pressure, he still hoped that Xiang would be as strong as possible. By the way, second senior brother, where's Master? Lu Ming asked. Master has some matters to attend to during this period of time. As for the specifics, I don't know either. Therefore, during this period of time, I will be guiding Xiang in her cultivation, Long Yuanshan said. Oh, Lu Ming nodded. It seemed like the Cloud Dragon Valley Master really had something important to do. Ninth junior brother, you've come back at the right time. Dragon God Valley is holding the treasure sorting convention's selection today. You should still be able to make it if you head over now. Long Yuanshan said. Selection? Lu Ming was surprised. In the past, those with a cultivation of the 7th layer martial dominator realm and below the age of 50 were allowed to participate in the treasure sorting convention. Why was there a selection this time? Ninth junior brother, the rules of the treasure sorting convention have been changed. In recent years, there have been many experts and geniuses among the younger generation. As a result, there are too many 7th layer martial dominator realm cultivators and stronger geniuses. Therefore, it's meaningless to have too many 7th layer martial dominator realm cultivators participating in the treasure sorting convention. Therefore, the rules have been changed. Each sect will send 20 of their strongest geniuses to participate in the treasure sorting convention. Long Yuanshan explained. Only 20? Lu Ming said. That's right. Therefore, the elders of the Dragon God Valley will first select 20 participants, and the others will challenge these 20 participants. The winner of the challenge will be able to replace the opponent and become one of the 20 participants. In the end, the 20 participants will be decided when no one challenges them. Ninth junior brother, let's go. You'll surely be able to secure a spot. Long Yuanshan said. Sure. Lu Ming nodded. He then brought Xiang and Long Yuanshan to a snowy mountain. They soon arrived at the venue of the treasure sorting convention. The top of a snowy mountain was extremely flat, with a fighting ring at its center. The ring was surrounded by people. To the north of the ring was a row of seats, where the authorities of the Dragon God Valley and the other 7 valleys were seated. Beside the fighting ring stood a row of people. These were the 20 participants that had been selected by the 7 valleys. 7th senior brother, 8th senior sister. Lu Ming saw Tian Chue and Xuanixin among the 20 participants. 7th junior brother and 8th junior sister have both reached the 1st layer half-sacred realm. They are quite outstanding among the younger generation of the Dragon God Valley, Long Yuanshan said. Lu Ming nodded. Tian Chue and Xuanixin had reached the 8th layer martial dominator realm more than a year ago. It was normal for them to reach the 1st layer half-sacred realm with their talents. Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming. At this moment, someone saw Lu Ming and instantly exclaimed, What? Lu Ming is here? Where is he? Immediately, many people turned their heads and looked around. Their gazes then landed on Lu Ming. Everyone in the Dragon God Valley knew that Lu Ming had challenged the Divine Sun. However, Lu Ming had rarely appeared in the past 3 years. Everyone was curious to know what cultivation level Lu Ming had reached. Lu Ming pulled Xiang and landed in the seating area with Long Yuanshan. Cloud Dragon Valley was one of the 7 valleys. Since Long Yuanshan had reached the Saint Realm, he was naturally qualified to sit there. A cold gaze swept toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming immediately sensed the gaze and looked toward the person. Valley Master Yinlong. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. The Valley Master of the Silver Dragon Valley cast a cold glance at Lu Ming before he turned away. Now, let's continue the challenge. Who else wants to challenge me? An elder of the Saint Realm stood in the air above the fighting ring, and his voice resounded throughout the area. I'll do it. A young man rushed into the fighting ring and challenged another young man of the LV9 Martial Dominator Realm. The young man who challenged him was also of the LV9 Martial Dominator Realm. After a dozen blows, the young man who challenged him was defeated. Then, a few more people went up to challenge him, but they were all defeated. Those who were selected by the elders of the Seven Valleys were definitely the most powerful among the younger generation of the Dragon God Valley. It was not easy for ordinary people to succeed. Since the start of the challenge, dozens of people had gone up to challenge him, but none of them had succeeded. Who else wants to challenge me? The elder in charge asked again. I'll go up and get a spot. At this moment, Lu Ming got up, took a step forward, and appeared in the fighting ring. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. All eyes were on Lu Ming. Lu Ming had disappeared for too long, and no one knew how powerful Lu Ming was. Therefore, Lu Ming's name was not among the 20 spots. Now that Lu Ming had challenged him, would he be able to succeed? Lu Ming defeated everyone in the last treasure peddling convention. Now that so much time has passed, it should be no problem for him to get a spot. That's right, it should be no problem for him to get a spot. I just don't know what cultivation level he has reached. Chapter 16, 71. In the previous treasure ordering meeting, Lu Ming had defeated everyone with his powerful combat ability. However, Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 4th level Martial Emperor realm. Nearly 3 years had passed. What realm had Lu Ming's cultivation reached? He must have reached the high-level Martial Royal Realm. Haha, 9th junior brother, you're finally back. We can fight side by side again. Tian Chue burst out laughing. In his opinion, it would be a piece of cake for Lu Ming to win a spot. 7th senior brother, 8th senior sister, how have you been? Let's have a drink after the challenge. Lu Ming said with a smile. Sure, haha. Tian Chue and Xuaningxi nodded with a smile. Lu Ming, who do you want to challenge? The elder in charge glanced at Lu Ming. Him then. Lu Ming scanned the crowd and fixed his gaze on a young man in a silver robe. He was obviously the genius of the Silver Dragon Valley. Who else could he challenge? Humph, Lu Ming. Times have changed. You were strong 3 years ago, but that might not be the case now. The young man stepped forward with a powerful aura, the aura of the peak 9th layer Martial Royal Realm. Furthermore, since he was chosen, his talent would not be bad. His spiritual body should be at least a middle-tier, earthly spiritual body. Come, I'll give you a chance. Lu Ming spoke faintly, his voice calm. In his opinion, the 9th layer Martial Royal Realm was just a formality. How presumptuous! I'll send you to hell. Silver Dragon Claw. The genius of the Silver Dragon Valley let out a roar as a layer of silver dragon scales appeared on his body. He swiped at Lu Ming with his claw, leaving a terrifying claw mark in the air. In the blink of an eye, he had arrived before Lu Ming. How powerful! Let's see how Lu Ming is going to break it. Someone exclaimed. At that instant, Lu Ming reached out his hand and grabbed his opponent's wrist at lightning speed. His opponent's arm and his entire body came to a stop in the air. Break! The other party's expression changed, and he suddenly roared. His entire body emitted a dazzling silver light, and the roar of a dragon resounded. But before his silver light could erupt, Lu Ming swung his arm. Bang! His opponent was heavily smashed to the ground, and the fighting ring rumbled violently. Then Lu Ming waved his hand, and his opponent's body was thrown out of the stage like a broken sack by Lu Ming. He fell to the ground with a dazed expression. Many people were also dumbfounded. A genius at the peak of the 9th Martial Emperor realm from the Silver Dragon Valley had been defeated so easily. Lu Ming hadn't even moved a step. Although some people thought that Lu Ming would win at the beginning, they didn't expect him to win so easily. Could it be that Lu Ming had already broken through to the half-saint realm? Humph! Valley Master Silver Dragon snorted coldly from his seat, his face dark. Haha, ninth junior brother, you're amazing. Tian Chue laughed loudly. Ninth junior brother, you really went easy on him. Xuanning said in her heart. Lu Ming smiled. He had shown mercy, just now. Otherwise, his opponent would have been dead. Lu Ming has won this round and entered the top 20. Who else wants to challenge him? The hosting elder asked. Wait a minute. At this moment, a voice was heard in the fighting ring. The hosting elder was stunned. He looked at one of the 20 people in the fighting ring and asked, Yin Zisong, do you have any questions? A young man in a silver robe stepped out with a cold and arrogant look. He was the one who had asked him to wait a minute just now. Elder, I don't think Lu Ming is qualified to enter the top 20 to represent the Dragon God Valley at the treasure meeting. Yin Zisong said. Bullshit. Yin Zisong. What right do you have to say that junior brother Lu Ming is not qualified to represent the Dragon God Valley at the treasure meeting? Junior brother Lu Ming's strength is obvious to all. Tian Chue was enraged and shouted, Humph, what's so great about having some strength? Yin Zisong snorted coldly. He looked even more arrogant as he said, Everyone knows that Lu Ming is extremely daring and has offended the Celestial God Sect, the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect, and the Poison Desire Sect. If he also participates in the treasure exhibition, we will definitely be targeted by the 3 major sections. By then, we will be lucky if we don't come in last place, let alone be the champion of the treasure exhibition. Humph! We were also targeted by the 3 sects at the treasure meeting 3 years ago. How did we get first place in the end? Xuanning mocked. That was then, and this is now. The treasure identification meet is just a small matter. The treasure identification meet is where the geniuses are as common as clouds. What does Lu Ming count for? Moreover, the battle between him and the Divine Sun has nothing to do with the treasure meeting. Since the result is already decided, he will be killed. He might as well send himself to the Divine Sun and not implicate us. Yin Zisong said, Zisong is right. In my opinion, we should just kill Lu Ming and give him to the Divine Sun to mend our relationship with the Heavenly Divinity Sect. Valley Master Yin Long said coldly from his seat. Ha ha ha, if you want to suck up to the Heavenly Divinity Sect and be their dog, go ahead. No one will stop you. However, I am not interested. Lu Ming suddenly laughed and looked at Valley Master Yin Long with disdain. How dare you? Valley Master Yin Long was furious, and a powerful aura erupted from his body. Old dog, you are angry. Lu Ming said indifferently, and his tone was full of disdain. He then turned around and ignored Valley Master Yin Long. Valley Master Yin Long was so angry that his chest heaved up and down. He wanted to slap Lu Ming to death, but he could not do so in front of the experts of the 7 valleys and the other valley masters. Many people sighed. Lu Ming was still Lu Ming. He was still so bold and direct. He called Valley Master Yin Long an old dog in front of everyone, just like he did 3 years ago. Everyone, you've seen it for yourselves. This kid has no respect for his elders. I suggest that he be disqualified, and then his cultivation be crippled before being thrown into prison. Valley Master Yin Long said coldly, I think 9th junior brother is right. You are obviously an old dog. As a Valley Master, you want to give the disciples of Dragon God Valley to the Heavenly Divinity Sect as an apology. You are shameless. If you want to kneel and lick the Heavenly Divinity Sect's boots, then go ahead and join the Heavenly Divinity Sect. Long Yuan Shan said coldly from the seating area. Now that he had reached the Saint Realm, he was the representative of Cloud Dragon Valley when Valley Master Yin Long was not around. He had great power and did not need to be afraid of Valley Master Yin Long. You, Cloud Dragon Valley, is the cancer of Dragon God Valley. Valley Master Yin Long said angrily. All right, you are an elder. Why are you arguing with the younger generation? Let's continue watching the competition. An elder in a purple robe said from the side. The elder in the purple robe was Valley Master Yinlong. That's right, Yinlong. You are already so old. Why are you arguing with the younger generation? Aren't you afraid of being laughed at by the younger generation? The other Valley Master also spoke up. Valley Master Yinlong's face darkened. It was obvious that the other Valley Masters were on Lu Ming's side. Ha ha ha. Chapter 1672. Lu Ming, your participation in the treasure pedestal meeting will not only be of no use, but will also cause us to be targeted by the other 3 sections. If I were you, I would get out of the fighting ring and not participate. Yin Zisong yelled and continued to target Lu Ming. He wanted Lu Ming to be disqualified from the treasure pedestal meeting and be killed by the god sun. Furthermore, he could suppress Lu Ming and boost his reputation. Yin Zisong was a newly risen genius. 3 years ago, his cultivation was only at the peak of the 9th layer martial royal realm. He could not compete with the top geniuses. However, his cultivation had reached the 2nd stage of the half-saint realm and he had comprehended the laws. Furthermore, he also had a superior earth spiritual body. His combat strength was second only to Zifeng, one of the top 10 monsters in the Dragon God Valley. He was ambitious and was bent on surpassing Zifeng to become one of the top 10 demons. Before that, he had to constantly establish his authority. Lu Ming, who was famous, was undoubtedly a very good choice. So you're saying that your participation in the treasure pedestal meeting is very useful? Lu Ming replied calmly. Nonsense! Who in the Dragon God Valley doesn't know my combat strength? I'll definitely help the Dragon God Valley achieve great things in the treasure pedestal meeting. Yin Zisong said proudly. You? A piece of trash? You really know how to flatter yourself. Lu Ming said calmly. What did you say? Yin Zisong was enraged, and his face darkened. He rolled his eyes and said, Lu Ming, I'll challenge you now. If you can withstand 10 moves from me without being defeated, I'll admit that you're strong enough to participate in the treasure pedestal meeting. How about that? 10 moves? Lu Ming's lips curled upward. What? You don't dare? Yin Zisong sneered and cupped his fists at the hosting elder. Elder, is this battle acceptable? If Lu Ming agrees, yes. The hosting elder said. Everyone's gaze was on Lu Ming. Yin Zisong challenged Lu Ming. Would Lu Ming dare to accept the challenge? Presently, Yin Zisong was the number 2 powerhouse in Dragon God Valley's young generation, second only to Zifeng. Without the cultivation of the 2nd stage of the half-saint realm, how could it be easy to take 10 moves from Yin Zisong? All right, make your move, Lu Ming said indifferently. His expression was calm, and no one could tell what he was thinking. On his seat, Valley Master Silver Dragon was overjoyed. He transmitted his voice to Yin Zisong. Zisong, this is an opportunity. Seize it and cripple Lu Ming. Yin Zisong nodded in agreement, and a sharp light flashed in his eyes. Junior brother, you have to be careful. Yin Zisong's cultivation has already reached the 2nd stage of the half-saint realm. His spiritual body is a superior earth spiritual body. Xuanixin hurriedly sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming, telling him to be careful. Lu Ming gave Tianque and Xuanixin a reassuring smile. Humph, this guy wants to challenge Master. He will definitely be beaten down by Master. Master is the most powerful. At the edge of Longyuan Mountain, Xiang Xiang said coquettishly, Bang! Yin Zisong stepped out from the fighting ring. His cultivation of the 2nd stage of the half-saint realm was fully displayed. His body was surrounded by the Dharma, and his aura was intimidating. Lu Ming, you really don't know your own strength. 3 years ago, your cultivation was only at the 4th stage of the martial royal realm. Now, no matter how fast you have improved, what level can you reach? Kneel down before me. Yin Zisong sneered. He strode forward and threw a punch at Lu Ming. Kneel down! Lu Ming suddenly shouted. The holy sword art in his eyes shot out and pierced into In Zisong's body. Ah! In Zisong screamed in agony. His eyes popped out, and his face was distorted as if he was in unbearable pain. His soul was almost torn apart by Lu Ming. "Kneel down!" Lu Ming shouted again and stepped out. Bang! Lu Ming's martial sacred realm soul force exploded and pressed down on In Zisong. At that moment, it was as if Lu Ming had transformed into a deity in front of In Zisong. He was 10,000 zhang tall and stood between the heavens and earth. With a single thought, the heavens and earth would crumble, and millions of corpses would fall to the ground. At that moment, In Zisong was utterly terrified. He immediately knelt down with a thump. Upon seeing this, the crowd was dumbfounded. Their eyes almost popped out of their sockets, as they could not believe what they had just seen. In Zisong had actually knelt down before Lu Ming. Furthermore, the two of them did not even attack. There was no shocking scene. They only heard Lu Ming yelling, "Get lost!" before In Zisong knelt down. What was going on? Previously, In Zisong had not been arrogant, as if he did not put Lu Ming in his eyes. He had even said that if Lu Ming could withstand 10 moves from him, he would admit that Lu Ming was strong enough to participate in the treasure sorting convention. But now, he had knelt in front of Lu Ming before they had even attacked. What was this? Lu Ming, what kind of sorcery did you use? The Valley Master of Silver Dragon Valley roared in disbelief. He was the most outstanding genius of Silver Dragon Valley, but he had knelt in front of Lu Ming because of Lu Ming's yelling. Sorcery? What a joke! You're a Valley Master and a Supreme Saint. How could you say sorcery? Lu Ming replied with a cold smile. There were thousands of martial arts, and all kinds of secret skills were endless. The Valley Master of Silver Dragon Valley had said sorcery as if he was an ordinary person. How ridiculous was that? The Valley Master of Silver Dragon Valley widened his eyes in anger, but he could not refute it. Can't you see through his soul power? Long Yuanshan asked calmly. Of course I can see through it. You don't have to say it. The Valley Master of Silver Dragon Valley said coldly. They could see that Lu Ming had used his soul power, and he had only said sorcery in a moment of desperation. However, Lu Ming's soul power was too strong, and it shocked them. How can this kid's soul power reach such a level? It's comparable to a saint's. The Valley Master of Silver Dragon Valley roared in his heart. He hated Lu Ming to the core. When he faced Lu Ming, he often could not control the anger in his heart. Otherwise, as the master of a valley, he would not be in such a pathetic state. Buzz. In the fighting ring, Lu Ming withdrew his soul power, and In Zisong felt his soul become lighter. He panted heavily as if he had collapsed. Then he realized that he had knelt in front of Lu Ming. Everyone's eyes fell on him. Some looked at him with disdain. Some looked at him with disdain, and some mocked him. Ah, damn it, damn it. How can this be? In Zisong's eyes turned red as he screamed in his heart. He could not believe that he had knelt in front of Lu Ming. He felt as if his soul had been torn apart, and he had no idea what he had done. What a piece of trash! Lu Ming said calmly. Lu Ming, you! In Zisong shouted as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Nest, you're so powerful. You spat out blood on your own accord. I've learned something new today. Tian Chue gloated and added insult to injury, causing In Zisong to spit out another mouthful of blood. Let's go. The Valley Master of Silver Dragon Valley could not stand it anymore. He waved his sleeves and stepped into the air. Chapter 16, 73. After Valley Master In Long left, the challenges continued. In Zisong had to stay on the fighting ring because he was the one being challenged. In Zisong could only lower his head and stand on the fighting ring in shame. The challenges continued, but no one dared to challenge Lu Ming because of his combat strength. In fact, no one dared to challenge those who were ranked at the top. Most of the challenges later on ended in failure. Half a day later, the challenges ended and the 20 spots were decided. In Tianque's cave in Cloud Dragon Valley, Long Yuanshan, Lu Ming, Tianque, and Xuanixin sat around a table and drank happily. Ha ha ha! Today was a great day to see Valley Master Yinlung's face. Tianque drank a few mouthfuls of wine and laughed. Long Yuanshan and Xuanixin smiled when they thought of Valley Master Yinlung's defeated expression. By the way, ninth junior brother, what's your cultivation level now? Long Yuanshan asked. Tianque and Xuanixin were also curious. Lu Ming didn't hide anything. He released his aura and surrounded himself with the Dharma. The Dharma, that's stage 2 of a half-saint. Amazing. Tianque said with his eyes wide open. Ninth junior brother's talent is extraordinary. As your senior sister, I have been surpassed. Xuanixin said with a smile. When they first met Lu Ming's cultivation level was far lower than theirs. Now, Lu Ming had surpassed Lu Ming. His talent was amazing. Of course, they were happy for Lu Ming. However, Long Yuanshan didn't look happy. He asked, Ninth junior brother, are you confident that you can defeat the Divine Sun? Hearing this, Tianque and Xuanixin's expressions immediately turned serious, revealing traces of worry. Lu Ming was strong, but he was only a stage 2 half-saint. On the other hand, the Divine Sun had reached the saint realm a year and a half ago. A saint realm cultivator condensed a saint heart. His true essence turned into saint power, and he had a stronger control over the Dharma. He was much stronger than a half-saint. It was too difficult to fight against a saint in the second stage of the half-saint realm. Moreover, the Divine Sun was not an ordinary half-saint, but a peerless genius of the Tsangzhou state. If the Divine Sun's cultivation is still at the saint realm small mastery, I have a 50% chance of killing him. Lu Ming said after pondering for a moment. What, 50% chance of killing him? Long Yuanshan, Tianque, and Xuanixin were dumbfounded. Although they had hoped that Lu Ming would say that he was confident, they had never imagined that Lu Ming would actually say that he had a 50% chance of killing the Divine Sun. Not defeat, but kill. Killing was much more difficult than defeating. Lu Ming actually had a 50% chance of killing the Divine Sun. Long Yuanshan, Tianque, and Xuanixin exchanged a glance. It seemed that they had underestimated their junior brother. Ha ha ha. Good. Then senior brother will wait for junior brother to display your invincible might during the treasure ranking meeting and annihilate him. Tianque laughed heartily, picked up the wine jar, and drank a few more mouthfuls. They had not seen each other for more than a year and naturally had a lot to talk about. They drank and chatted until late at night when they finally left. In the following days, Lu Ming went into seclusion to cultivate diligently. The Divine Sun had broken through to the Saint Realm a year and a half ago. Although it was very difficult to break through after reaching the Saint Realm, the resources and time required for each breakthrough were incomparable to those of the martial royal realm. However, the Divine Sun was very talented and had received the full support of the celestial God sect. Who knew if the Divine Sun had broken through in a year and a half? If the Divine Sun broke through again, it would be difficult for Lu Ming to defeat him. Therefore, the only way was to continuously improve his own strength. In the following days, Lu Ming comprehended the law of chaos every day and cultivated the chaotic flipping sky seal. The chaotic flipping sky seal had already reached the peak of the 5th level. If he could break through to the 6th level, Lu Ming's combat strength would increase again. More than a month passed in the blink of an eye. There was only about a month left before the treasure sorting assembly began. It was time to leave for Tsang Mountain. Tianque, Xuanixin, Lu Ming, and Xiangxiang wanted to go with them, so Lu Ming brought Lu Xiangxiang along. Before they left, Lu Ming sent a message to Su Lei. Lu Ming had promised to bring Su Lei along when he went to Tsang Mountain. The 5 of them arrived at Dragon God Valley. This time, let's take my sky-piercing flying shuttle. Xuanixin smiled and took out a sky-piercing flying shuttle. It shone with a silver light and was exceptionally beautiful. Lu Ming could tell at a glance that Xuanixin's sky-piercing flying shuttle was not an ordinary one. The 5 of them entered the sky-piercing flying shuttle. With a swoosh, the sky-piercing flying shuttle shot across the sky like a stream of light. Its speed was about twice as fast as an ordinary one. It only took them 7 days to reach the vicinity of Tsang Mountain. When they were close to Tsang Mountain, they got off the sky-piercing flying shuttle and flew toward Tsang Mountain. Boom! Boom! As they approached Tsang Mountain, they heard a loud explosion in front of them. Rays of brilliant light shot up into the sky. Someone was fighting. Some people were watching from the sky. As the 5 of them approached, they realized that the 2 people fighting were both 6th-layer Martial Royal Realm cultivators from 2 different sections. Every time before the treasure sorting convention, it would be a stage for cultivators below the 6th-layer Martial Royal Realm. It was normal for cultivators below the 6th-layer Martial Royal Realm to fight with each other. As Lu Ming and the others approached, they attracted the attention of the crowd. Many people looked toward Lu Ming and the others. Is that Lu Ming? It's really him. He finally showed up. He barely showed up in the past few years. More than a year ago, he only showed up once in the Heavenly Wind Plains. After that, he disappeared without a trace. I thought he wouldn't show up at this treasure sorting convention. I didn't expect him to actually show up. Interesting. Lu Ming's appearance caused a commotion among the crowd. Hee, Lu Ming, you really dared to show up. I thought you would hide like a turtle and not dare to show up. A sneer rang out and spread throughout the crowd. A few figures stepped into the sky and arrived in front of Lu Ming and the others. They looked at Lu Ming with a sneer. Shi Guan. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The one who spoke was Shi Guan of the Celestial God Sect. During the last treasure sorting convention, when Lu Ming and the others arrived at Tsang Mountain, they were chased by Shi Guan. Over the past 3 years, Shi Guan had undoubtedly become more powerful. His body was filled with milky white, holy light, and the power of law was flowing around him. Stage 2 of the half-saint realm was Shi Guan's cultivation. However, Shi Guan was not a high-class, earthly spiritual body, but a middle-class one. Now, Lu Ming could kill him with one slap. What bad luck! As soon as we arrived at Tsang Mountain, we heard a wild dog barking. Tian Chue grinned and sneered. Senior brother is right, and it's an ugly wild dog. Xuanixin also shouted. Tian Chue and Xuanixin kept talking, which made Xiangxiang giggle. She blinked her eyes and asked curiously, Martial uncle, martial aunt, I didn't know a wild dog looked like this. This is the first time I've seen one. Chapter 1674. Shi Guan's expression was extremely gloomy. He swept his cold gaze across Tian Chue and the others and said, So what if you have a sharp tongue? Lu Ming, this time, there's no need for senior brother divine son to make a move. You will lose your life at the treasure pedestal meeting. Humph. After saying that, Shi Guan snorted coldly and turned around to leave. He left with the other heavenly god sect disciples in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming and the others did not linger. They flew directly to the Dragon God Valley's outpost in Tsang Mountain. This was Xiangxiang's first time coming to Tsang Mountain. Her big eyes looked around curiously. The little girl had been either at the Lu Clan Fort or the Dragon God Valley for the past few years. This was her first time going out. Xiangxiang, cultivate well. When you become a high-level martial monarch, Master will let you go out alone. Lu Ming said, Yes, Xiangxiang will do her best. The little girl's eyes lit up immediately as she clenched her fists. After arriving at the Dragon God Valley's outpost, the next few days were very peaceful. 3 days later, Tian Chue and Xuanixin came to look for Lu Ming. The treasure pavilion was going to open its doors to sell treasures again. Lu Ming's eyes were also filled with anticipation. The treasure pavilion was an emperor-level faction. Its business covered many large provinces. There were countless treasures in the treasure pavilion, many of which could not be found in the Tsang province. Lu Ming also wanted to buy two things. The first was a sky-piercing flying shuttle. Lu Ming wanted to buy a higher-grade sky-piercing flying shuttle. The second was a dragon bone or true dragon blood essence. Previously, Lu Ming had obtained a dragon valley in Gusu City's ancestral land. However, that dragon bone had clearly been dead for many years. It had lost a lot of its spiritual essence. Lu Ming estimated that even if he swallowed and refined it, it would be difficult for his spiritual body to evolve. When the dragon god's battle body reached the heavenly spiritual body level, each evolution consumed a terrifying amount of energy and required a terrifying amount of true dragon's spiritual essence. Therefore, Lu Ming needed more true dragon bones or blood essence and the like. Moreover, the blood essence of a true dragon of the bright sage realm was no longer of much use to Lu Ming. Lu Ming needed something of a higher level. These were almost impossible to find in the Tsang state. Previously, when Lu Ming was in the Dragon God Valley, he had gone to the treasured Dragon Palace to inquire. However, the highest level of true dragon of the Bright Sage Realm was only a true dragon of the Bright Sage Realm, and there were not many of them. Lu Ming was looking forward to the opening of the treasure pavilion on this trip to Tsang Mountain. The three of them headed towards the Supreme Treasure Pavilion. Just like 3 years ago, the Supreme Treasure Pavilion was packed with people. Many people were wearing black robes and bamboo hats, as if they were afraid of being recognized. 3 years ago, Lu Ming and the others were the same. But this time, the three of them did not conceal their strength. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, why would he need to conceal his strength? When the three of them stepped into the treasure pavilion, they immediately attracted the attention of many pairs of eyes. Many people looked at Lu Ming. Obviously, many of them recognized Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not care. His face was calm as he walked around with Tian Chue and the others. After walking around, they went straight to the third floor. Some people's eyes flickered as they followed Lu Ming and the others to the third floor. The treasures on the third floor were much more advanced. Lu Ming came to a counter that specialized in selling sacred weapons. A young woman looked at him with a smile. "Sir, what kind of sacred weapon do you need?" The young woman smiled. "Excuse me, do you sell breaking sky shuttles here?" Lu Ming asked. "Of course we have breaking sky shuttles. Sir, how many times faster do you need?" The young woman asked. Breaking sky shuttles. The breaking sky shuttles that Lu Ming used before were the lowest grade breaking sky shuttles. With this kind of breaking sky shuttles as a unit of measurement, they were called breaking sky shuttles with twice the speed. The higher grade breaking sky shuttles, the faster they were. For example, Xuan Ningxin's breaking sky shuttles were twice the speed of ordinary breaking sky shuttles, so they were called breaking sky shuttles with twice the speed. Breaking sky shuttles with 3 times the speed were called breaking sky shuttles with 3 times the speed, and so on. Back then, Valley Master Yunlong's breaking sky shuttles were at least 10 times the speed. Breaking sky shuttles were mainly about speed, followed by defensive power. Generally, the faster the speed, the higher the price. And ordinary breaking sky shuttles were usually worth about 5 sacred weapons. A breaking sky shuttles with twice the speed would double the price. The faster the speed, the higher the price. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and said, "I need a breaking sky shuttles with 5 times the speed." "Of course, we have a breaking sky shuttles with 5 times the speed. Please wait a moment." The young woman took out a storage ring. The ring glowed, and a very beautiful breaking sky shuttles appeared. It was only the size of a palm, and it was covered with beautiful starlight spots. The breaking sky shuttles attracted a lot of attention as soon as they were taken out. What a beautiful breaking sky shuttles! I'm afraid this breaking sky shuttles is no small matter. Just like that beauty said, it's a breaking sky shuttles with 5 times the speed. Can Lu Ming afford it? Low voices came from all around, and many people's eyes were burning with passion. Lu Ming's eyes also flashed. A breaking sky shuttles with 5 times the speed would take him at most 3 days to travel between Song Mountain and Dragon God Valley, or even less. Lu Ming was very tempted. This breaking sky shuttles is made of star iron. It's worth 25 sacred weapons. Do you want it? The woman's voice came. I want it, Lu Ming said, and many people around were shocked. 25 sacred weapons, and Lu Ming said he wanted it without batting an eyelid. Many people were stunned, and some people's eyes flashed with greed. Lu Ming's lips curled into a sneer. If it was 3 years ago, he would never dare to be so arrogant, but now, if anyone dared to have any ideas about him, he wouldn't mind killing some of them first. Excuse me, do you have true dragon bones for sale here? If you do, I'll buy some and pay together, Lu Ming said. We do have true dragon bones. What level of true dragon bones do you need? The young woman said. Above the great saint level. The higher the level, the better, Lu Ming said. Above the great saint level. The young woman's eyes moved and said, We only have 3,000 gene of great saint level true dragon bones here, and they are full of spirituality. However, the price is very high. It costs 50 sacred weapons. The young woman said this to Lu Ming through voice transmission. The young woman said this for Lu Ming's sake. The price was too high, and she was afraid that Lu Ming would be targeted by others. 50 sacred weapons? Lu Ming's heart moved. In total, he would need 75 enlightened sacred weapons. He could take out so many enlightened sacred weapons, but after taking them out, he would not have much left. If he needed to cultivate the 10,000 weapon incantation, where would he find so many enlightened sacred weapons in a short period of time? Lu Ming thought about it and decided to use other treasures to offset the price. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He took out a storage ring and handed it to the young woman, saying, Miss, take a look and see if the things inside can offset the void-piercing flying shuttle and the dragon bones. The young woman nodded and took the storage ring. After scanning it with her spiritual sense, her face changed and she sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Is this the corpse of a supreme divine beast? Lu Ming nodded. Chapter 16, 75. Dear guest, it's hard for me to estimate the price of such a divine beast's corpse. You'll have to call the deacon here. Please wait a moment, the young woman said, and took out a voice transmission talisman to send a message. Soon, a white-haired old man came to the counter. The old man emitted a faint sacred aura. Lu Ming guessed that the old man was a sacred realm existence. The old man picked up Lu Ming's storage ring and scanned it with his spiritual sense. His expression changed slightly as he inspected it carefully. A moment later, the old man transmitted his voice to Lu Ming. Little brother, although this supreme divine beast's corpse has lost a lot of its spirit after being dead for many years, its overall price is still higher than a shattering sky shuttle with 5 times the speed and 3,000 gene of the great sacred true dragon's bones. Are you sure you want to trade? Yes, Lu Ming nodded. The goshawk's corpse was useless in his hands, so he might as well trade it for something useful. All right, little brother, I won't let you suffer a loss. I'll add 9 drops of brilliant sacred true dragon's blood essence for you. The old man smiled and handed the other storage ring to Lu Ming. Lu Ming received it and scanned it with his spiritual sense. He discovered that the shattering sky shuttle was already inside the storage ring. In addition to that, there was a huge jade box with a pile of dragon bones and a jade bottle. It must be the 9 drops of brilliant, sacred, true dragon's blood essence. Lu Ming put it away and brought his fists together. Thank you, senior. Don't mention it. Little brother, be careful. I'm afraid someone is watching you, the old man reminded. Lu Ming smiled and scanned the surroundings. He discovered many pairs of eyes were looking at Lu Ming. Although Lu Ming and the others were using voice transmission, the people around them couldn't hear what Lu Ming and the others were saying. However, Lu Ming had mentioned that he wanted to buy a shattering sky shuttle with 5 times the speed. Even a sacred realm expert would be envious of such a treasure. Also, a deacon of the Supreme Treasure Pavilion had come later. So what exactly was the thing that Lu Ming had taken out? Why would they need the deacon of the Supreme Treasure Pavilion to take action? Lu Ming definitely had a great treasure on him. Many people thought so, and their eyes flashed with a fiery light. Junior brother, it looks like we're going to be targeted again, Tian Chue said with a sharp glint in his eyes. Isn't that perfect? Wouldn't it be easier to kill a bunch of them before the treasure sorting convention? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Of course. They were also communicating via voice transmission. Tian Chue and Xuanixin's eyes turned vicious. Let's go outside and block them. Good. That Lu Ming must have some precious treasure on him. It's ours. While Lu Ming's group of 3 were communicating via voice transmission, the others were also communicating in secret. Then, a group of people quietly exited the Supreme Treasure Pavilion and waited on the path that Lu Ming and the others had to pass. The 3 of them continued their stroll. Tian Chue and Xuanixin bought some things respectively. The 3 of them had bought what they needed and were satisfied. They left the Supreme Treasure Pavilion and headed in the direction of the Divine Dragon Valley. As soon as the 3 of them left the Supreme Treasure Pavilion, a group of people quietly followed Lu Ming's group. They're following us, Xuanixin sneered. I hope they're from the Heavenly Divinity sect, Lu Ming said with a smile. If there were people from the Heavenly God sect, he would be able to kill them openly. He and the Heavenly Divinity sect were already mortal enemies. If he could kill more of them, why not? The people behind did not attack immediately. They kept following them, obviously wanting to get further away from the Supreme Treasure Pavilion. Lu Ming and the other 2 flew forward leisurely. Soon, they saw a group of people in black robes in front of them blocking their path. Lu Ming's group of 3 stopped. The people behind them also surrounded them. You're finally here. Lu Ming, hand over your storage ring. A person in front said coldly. Robbing again. You've been doing this every day. You did it 3 years ago, and now you're doing it again. You really haven't changed. Tian Chue grinned. If you want it, come and get it yourselves, Lu Ming said indifferently. Humph, Lu Ming. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. There's no need to wait for you to fight the Divine Sun. I'll kill you now, the person said coldly. Then a few people stepped out and closed in on Lu Ming. Lu Ming, he's ours. There were also people behind them. Junior brother Lu Ming, wait a moment. Let me have some fun first. Tian Chue's eyes became more ferocious. Tian Chue, you deal with the front. I'll deal with the back, Xuanixin said. A layer of dragon scales began to appear on her body. She took a step forward and rushed to the back. Roar! A dragon's roar was heard. Xuanixin turned into a snow dragon. Her body was pure white and emitted a shocking cold aura. She clawed out. Puff! A black-robed man of LV9 Martial Royal Realm was killed by Xuanixin's claw. Kill! Tian Chue shouted. A huge hammer appeared in his hand. He smashed out and smashed a black-robed man of LV9 Martial Royal Realm into a meat patty. Half-saints, they're half-saints, someone exclaimed. Kill! Kill! Tian Chue and Xuanixin shouted. Their killing intent surged, and they attacked the black-robed men like a storm. Screams were heard as a few more people were killed. Half-saints, so what? Kill! Another black-robed man rushed out, emitting a shocking aura. Half-saints, they're all half-saints. Whoosh! The people behind them emitted a shocking poisonous aura and attacked Xuanixin. The experts in front were bathed in sacred light, and their killing intent was cold. Heavenly God sect, poison sect, it's really you! Tian Chue and Xuanixin shouted. Boom! Boom! Terrifying collisions were heard. Tian Chue and Xuanixin were very powerful. Their attacks were wild, and they forced their opponents to retreat. But soon after, even more people joined in. This time, there were at least 100 people surrounding them, and there were still many who hadn't made a move yet. Those who attacked later were even stronger. Lu Ming even saw that a few of them had the power of laws flowing around them. They were second stage half-saints. Tian Shui and Xuanixin were surrounded by 6 or 7 experts. They were all half-saints, and some of them were second-stage half-saints. Finally, Tian Shui and Xuanixin were stopped. Heavenly God sect and poison sect. Since you've been exposed, why are you still hiding? Show your true selves. Lu Ming stood in the air and said lightly. His voice spread throughout the area. So what if we show our true selves? Someone said coldly. Then he pulled his black robe and revealed his true appearance. Then more people took off their black robes and revealed their true faces. Lu Ming glanced at them. Many of them were older. Most of them were middle-aged. Only a few of them were younger. They were from the Poison Sect and Heavenly God Sect. Lu Ming, hand over your storage ring, and I'll let you live for a few more days. Chapter 1676. Lu Ming sneered, cut the crap. If you have the ability, then come and take it. Arrogant. I want to see how far you've grown in 3 years. A first-stage half-saint from the Celestial Divine Sect stepped forward. A spear of divine punishment appeared and pierced towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes were as cold as a blade. A saint weapon appeared in his hand. The sacred weapon battle sword slashed out. The sword gleam was earth-shattering. The other party's divine punishment spear shattered under Lu Ming's sword gleam. The sword gleam did not stop. That person was slashed into 2 halves and died instantly. Kill, Lu Ming said coldly. He stepped forward and appeared in front of another first-stage half-saint from the Celestial Divine Sect. He slashed out with his sword again. The man was frightened and frantically retreated. However, Lu Ming's sword light slashed through his body. His spiritual deity had been destroyed by Lu Ming. Then Lu Ming stepped forward and appeared in front of another second-stage half-saint. Die for me! The second stage half-saint roared. The law circulated and holy light erupted. He launched a terrifying attack towards Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's sword slashed through everything. The opponent's attack collapsed instantly. The man followed in the footsteps of the previous 2 and was killed by Lu Ming in a single slash. The others gasped and retreated in shock. 1/1 kill. 1/1 kill. 1/1 kill. Whether it was a first-stage half-saint or a second-stage half-saint, they couldn't resist Lu Ming. They were killed one by Lu Ming. At this time, the battle here had alarmed many people in the distance. Many people rushed over after hearing the commotion. It's Lu Ming. Lu Ming is being besieged. It's the Celestial Divine Sect and the Poison Desire Sect. These 2 sects really won't rest until Lu Ming is dead. They fight to the death whenever they meet. So many experts. Lu Ming is finished. Many figures flew over. When they saw so many experts surrounding Lu Ming and the others, they were shocked. Attack together. People of the Desire Poison Sect. Attack together and kill Lu Ming, shouted someone crazily in the Heavenly Divine Sect. That person was still wearing his black robe. Kill. Let's attack together. The remaining experts from the Desire Poison Sect and the Celestial Divinity Sect numbered more than 20. All of them were half-saint experts. 5 of them were at the second stage of the half-saint realm. All of them charged towards Lu Ming. All kinds of attacks flooded towards Lu Ming from both the front and back. Whoosh! Suddenly, from the left, a few terrifying saber gleams slashed toward Lu Ming. Every saber gleam was filled with demonic aura. People from the Sky Universe Demon Sect are also here to join in the fun. Lu Ming's eyes emitted a shocking killing intent. Whoosh! Lu Ming's figure moved, dodging the attacks from 3 directions. Then, like an eagle, he pounced towards the experts of the Celestial Divinity Sect. The battle sword in his hand slashed downwards. 100-meter-long saber light slashed towards the experts of the Celestial Divinity Sect. The terrifying might of the attack shocked the experts of the Celestial Divinity sect. Join forces and block it. Someone shouted. More than 10 half-saints of the Celestial Divinity sect joined forces to attack. More than 10 beams of saint light gathered together and shot towards Lu Ming. However, when Lu Ming's saber light landed, it broke through the saint light and slashed downwards. In an instant, 3 half-saints were killed by Lu Ming. Then the battle sword slashed horizontally and killed another 2 experts. Ah, retreat! Quickly retreat! The remaining people were almost scared to death. They frantically retreated. One of them took out a saint weapon. It was a small mountain and blocked in front of him. Clang! Lu Ming's sword slashed down on the small mountain and sent it flying. It crashed into that person's body. That person was directly smashed into a meat patty by his own saint weapon. In just a few breaths of time, Lu Ming had killed 6 half-saints of the Celestial Divinity sect. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. Lu Ming's battle strength had become even more terrifying. It was unknown how much stronger he was compared to 3 years ago. In his hands, half-saints were like ants. Kill! Then Lu Ming stepped into the void and charged toward the people from the Desire Poison sect. With a loud shout, the divine sword art erupted. More than 10 powerful figures from the Desire Poison sect screamed miserably. Then the sword gleam slashed and more than 10 people from the Desire Poison sect were killed. Their poisonous bodies were completely useless in front of Lu Ming. Their souls were directly destroyed. Retreat! Retreat! The remaining people, including the ones fighting Tian Chue and Xuanixin, were almost scared out of their wits. How could they dare to stay? They frantically fled in all directions. Shiguan, since you're here and want to take my interspatial ring, then there's no need for you to leave. Lu Ming stared at a black-robed man on the Celestial Divinity sect side and stepped towards him. That person had shouted and attacked just now. Lu Ming had recognized him as Shiguan. Shiguan turned pale with fright and fled frantically. However, Lu Ming's speed was astonishing. He caught up with Shiguan in a few steps. He threw a punch, and the fist force crushed Shiguan. Shiguan attacked with all his might, resisting with all his might. However, under Lu Ming's punch, he was sent flying. The black robe on his body exploded, revealing his true appearance. It was indeed Shiguan. His face was filled with shock and disbelief. Initially, he had brought experts here to rob Lu Ming of his interspatial ring. He had not expected Lu Ming's strength to be so terrifying. The first and second stage half-martial sacred realm cultivators were as vulnerable as babies in front of Lu Ming. A large number of them were slain with a single attack, resulting in a great loss. Although none of them had a high-level spiritual body, Lu Ming's strength was too terrifying. And now, Lu Ming was trying to kill him. He was no match against Qin Nan. 3 years ago, Lu Ming was only a 4th-layer martial dominator realm cultivator. He could only run for his life. However, now that he was in Lu Ming's hands, he might not even be able to escape. In just 3 years' time, the tables had turned. Kill! Lu Ming snapped coldly as the battle sword appeared in his hand once again and slashed at Shiguan. No. Shiguan desperately tried to defend himself. Stop it! A loud roar came from afar, causing the sky to rumble. However, Lu Ming did not stop there. He slashed down with all his might. Shiguan was killed by Lu Ming in despair. Whoosh! In the distance, a sacred light flashed and a handsome young man appeared in the sky. He looked at Lu Ming with intense killing intent. It's Luo Shuihan. Luo Shuihan is here. This is going to be interesting. Exclamations could be heard from all around. Junior brother, be careful. This is Luo Shuihan, the most powerful genius in the Cangzhou after the Divine Sun. He's another peerless genius of the Celestial God sect. Tian Chue and Xuanixin came to Lu Ming's side. Xuanixin whispered. Lu Ming nodded. At the treasure identification meet 3 years ago, there was a new, unparalleled genius in the celestial deity sect. At the treasure identification meet, he was second only to the Son of God and ranked second among the top 10 geniuses. Later, the divine Son broke through to the saint realm and was removed from the ranking. That person rose to first place. That genius was Luo Shuihan. Chapter 16, 77. Luo Shuihan swept his gaze across the crowd. When he realized that Lu Ming had killed so many experts, the killing intent in his eyes intensified. Lu Ming, how dare you kill so many of my heavenly god sex people? What punishment do you deserve? Luo Shuihan said coldly, What punishment do I deserve? What a joke. You people from the heavenly god sect stopped me halfway and tried to steal my storage ring. Don't you deserve to die? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Nonsense. How could my heavenly god sex people do such a thing? Luo Shuihan shouted. He then turned to the remaining people of the heavenly god sect and said, Is what Lu Ming said true? Did you try to steal his storage ring? There's no such thing. Lu Ming is talking nonsense. He harbors a grudge against the celestial deity sect and attacked us for no reason. The brothers from the Desire Poison sect can testify to this, right? A middle-aged man from the heavenly god sect shouted as he looked at the remaining people of the Desire Poison sect. That's right. It's true. Lu Ming has lost his mind and attacked us all of a sudden. The people of the Desire Poison sect also shouted. This was completely a blatant lie. Lu Ming, what else do you have to say? A life for a life. Luo Shuihan sneered. What do I need to say? What else do I need to say to a group of shameless people like you? Just kill them. You just want to find a reason to attack. Why do you need to talk so much nonsense? Yes, I did it. If I see anyone from the heavenly god sect in the future, I'll kill them all. Hurry up and kill them. Lu Ming's face was full of disdain as he shouted. Very good. Very good. Then you can go to hell. Luo Shuihan's holy light spread out and turned into a belt of light that surrounded his body. He looked incomparably sacred. Although Lu Ming's combat strength was very strong, he still didn't put him in his eyes. Those who had been killed by Lu Ming were nothing in Luo Shuihan's eyes. Luo Shuihan had a superior earth spiritual body, and his cultivation had reached the peak of the third stage of the half-saint realm. He was the leader of the top 10 evildoers in the Tsang state, and none of the geniuses at the same level as him were a match for him. Normally, he could kill a large number of first and second stage half-saints with a single slap. The others looked on nervously. Many people believed that Lu Ming would not stand a chance against Luo Shuihan and would be killed. Was Lu Ming going to die at the hands of Luo Shuihan before he could challenge the Son of God? Bang! Bang! Luo Shuihan stepped forward, and the holy light became more and more intense. Luo Shuihan, I'll fight you. At this moment, a voice sounded out, followed by a dragon's roar that shook the 9 heavens. A purple light flashed, and a purple figure appeared in front of Luo Shuihan. Boom! Luo Shuihan struck out with his palm. Holy light burst out, and the law flowed. A dragon's roar came from the purple figure's body. A purple dragon claw shot out and collided with Luo Shuihan's claw. An earth-shattering explosion sounded out. Both the purple figure and Luo Shuihan couldn't help but retreat. However, Luo Shuihan only took 3 steps back, while the purple figure took 4 to 5 steps back. Senior brother Zi Feng, Lu Ming whispered. The figure that suddenly appeared was Zi Feng, one of the top 10 evildoers in the Tsang state. Zi Feng, if you want to stop me, I'll kill you first, and then Lu Ming. Luo Shuihan roared and charged at Zi Feng. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Zi Feng shouted and charged at Luo Shuihan. The two of them engaged in a fierce battle. Lu Ming was dumbfounded and helpless. He was going to take this opportunity to kill Luo Shuihan and weaken the strength of the heavenly god sect. This way, the divine Dragon Valley would have a higher chance of getting first place in the treasure sorting convention. That way, The fragments of the prison-suppressing steel and the other treasure would belong to the divine Dragon Valley, and Lu Ming would have a chance to get the prison-suppressing steel fragment. Just as he was about to make a move, Zifeng rushed over, which made Lu Ming speechless. Zifeng and Luo Shuihan engaged in a fierce battle. Zifeng's cultivation was also in the third stage of the half-saint realm. He had a jar of law body, and his spiritual body was also a superior earth spiritual body. Although he was no match for Luo Shuihan, it would not be easy for Luo Shuihan to defeat Zifeng. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged dozens of blows. You must die for killing the people of the heavenly god sect today. At this moment, an old voice came from afar. An old man in a white robe stepped on the void, and like a flash of white light, he arrived at the scene in an instant. His powerful and vast aura immediately locked onto Lu Ming. A saint aura filled the air. He was a saint. This battle had attracted the attention of the saints of the heavenly god sect. The saint of the heavenly god sect stood high in the sky, looking down from above. His terrifying saint aura filled the air, making many people feel pressured, and they could not help but retreat. Lu Ming is finished. With a saint attacking, he's even more doomed. That's right. A saint is even stronger than Luo Shuihan. Many people shouted. Bright saint lesser success? Lu Ming's lips curled into a disdainful smile, and a sharp light flashed in his eyes. Luo Shuihan was blocked. It was not bad to kill a saint. Old man, you're already so old. How dare you attack the younger generation? Do you think there's no one in the Dragon God Valley? A loud roar was heard. Then a tall old man rushed over and stood in front of the saint of the heavenly god sect. He also exuded a vast saint aura. The saint realm elder of the Dragon God Valley had arrived. The saint realm elder of the Dragon God Valley exuded a powerful saint aura, blocking the saint of the heavenly god sect and Lu Ming behind him. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. No way. Don't do this. Let me do it. Lu Ming roared in his heart. He was speechless. Previously, Luo Shuihan was blocked by Zifeng. Now, a bright saint lesser success saint was blocked by the saint realm elder of the Dragon God Valley. It had completely ruined Lu Ming's plan. Lu Ming, step back. With me here, this old man can't do anything to you, the saint realm elder of the Dragon God Valley said. Lu Ming sighed. The people around them were also discussing. Oh my God, Lu Ming is so lucky. The Dragon God Valley happened to have an expert nearby. Otherwise, he would be finished. That's right. He's too lucky. However, he won't be able to go far by relying on luck. He will eventually meet the elites of the heavenly god sect in the treasure sorting convention. Even if he doesn't die in the treasure sorting convention, he will still die in the battle with the divine sun. The saint of the heavenly god sect looked at the saint of the Dragon God Valley coldly. However, he did not attack. The saint of the Dragon God Valley was not weaker than him. If they fought, both sides would be injured. Boom! On the other side, Zifeng and Luo Shuihan both retreated after exchanging a blow. The difference was that Luo Shuihan was calm and composed, while Zifeng was panting heavily. His aura was weak. Luo Shuihan's eyes were filled with reluctance. It would be difficult to kill Lu Ming today. Lu Ming, do you only know how to hide behind others? You can hide now, but you can't hide forever. You have nowhere to hide in the treasure sorting convention. This time, I will make sure that the people of the Dragon God Valley will never return. Starting from the treasure sorting convention in 10 days, I will let you know the consequences of offending the heavenly God sect. Chapter 1678. Let's go. The saints of the heavenly divinity sect harumphed and left with the rest of the heavenly divinity sect. The people of the Desire Poison sect and the people of the Sky Demonic sect who had launched a sneak attack also left quietly. Lu Ming, are you all right? The Saint Realm Elder of the Divine Dragon Valley asked Lu Ming. Elder, I'm fine. Lu Ming replied helplessly. All right, let's go back first. The Heavenly Divinity sect Desire Poison sect and the other sects will join forces at this treasure meeting. You must be prepared. The elder of the Divine Dragon Valley said and flew back to the Divine Dragon Valley. Lu Ming, Tian Chue, Xuaningxin, and Zi Feng followed behind. The Divine Dragon Valley will be in danger at the treasure meeting in 10 days. Zi Feng sighed. How many top geniuses will there be in the Divine Dragon Valley? Lu Ming asked. The top geniuses he was referring to were those with peak 6th layer martial royal realm and superior earth spiritual bodies. Such geniuses would be able to influence the outcome of the treasure meeting. Only one. That's a far cry from 3 years ago. Zi Feng sighed. Lu Ming frowned. The Divine Dragon Valley would be in danger if that was the case. They would definitely be targeted by the Heavenly Divinity sect, Desire Poison sect, and the other sects at the treasure meeting. The Divine Dragon Valley would not be able to contend against them and might not even be able to enter the top 10. They would lose the right to participate in the treasure meeting. Senior brother Zi Feng, I recommend someone who will be able to suppress the other top geniuses at the treasure meeting. Lu Ming's heart stirred as he thought of Su Lei. Su Lei had obtained the inheritance of Gusa City's ancestral land, and her mystical Yin dragon body was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming estimated that unless one had a heavenly spiritual body, they would not be a match for Su Lei. If Su Lei participated, she would be able to suppress everyone, suppress the other top geniuses. Zi Feng's eyes lit up. How could he not know that there was such a genius in the Divine Dragon Valley? However, since Lu Ming said so, he must be confident. All right, I'll recommend someone else. Zi Feng said. As they chatted, they soon arrived at the outpost in Dragon God Valley. As soon as Lu Ming returned to the outpost in Dragon God Valley, he ran into 2 familiar faces, Qiu Yingying and Qiu Hao. Qiu Yingying was very happy to see Lu Ming. Yingying, congratulations, your cultivation has reached the 6th layer martial dominator realm. Lu Ming smiled faintly. The speed of Qiu Yingying's breakthrough was beyond Lu Ming's expectation. She had already reached LV 6 martial royal realm. Qiu Yingying only had an ordinary spiritual body. Lu Ming thought that Qiu Yingying had once obtained an inheritance in the Song Emperor's secret realm. Perhaps it was related to this. Suddenly, Lu Ming exclaimed and stared at Qiu Yingying carefully. Lu Ming, what are you looking at? Qiu Yingying blushed as Lu Ming stared at her. She said, unnaturally, Senior brother Zi Feng, 7th senior brother, 8th senior sister. Please go back first. I have something to say to Yingying. Lu Ming said to Zi Feng, Tian Chue, and the others. Haha, junior brother, I understand. I'll leave now. Tian Chue laughed and left with Xuaningxin with an I understand expression. Zi Feng smiled and left as well. Oh, I forgot that I have something important to do. You guys go ahead, I'm leaving too. Qiu Hao slapped his head and winked at Qiu Yingying. He then flew into the air and left as well. Only Lu Ming and Qiu Yingying were left. Qiu Yingying's heart began to beat rapidly. She did not dare to look at Lu Ming. Lu Ming rubbed his nose and was speechless. It seemed that he had been misunderstood. Yingying, let's talk somewhere else, Lu Ming said as he walked toward an open space by the side. Qiu Yingying's heart beat faster. What does Lu Ming want to talk to me about? Does he like me? At this moment, Qiu Yingying's mind was filled with various thoughts. Yingying, was there a soul cultivation technique in the inheritance you obtained? Lu Ming asked after they arrived at the empty space. Yes. Qiu Yingying was stunned at first, then she nodded. So that was what Lu Ming wanted to talk about. It seemed that she was wrong. She did not know why, but she felt a sense of loss. As expected, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Lu Ming's soul power was extremely strong, and he had also cultivated a soul cultivation technique. When he looked at Qiu Yingying, he found that Qiu Yingying's soul power was extraordinarily strong. Qiu Yingying's cultivation was at LV6 martial royal realm, but her soul power was far stronger than that. It was even close to LV8 martial royal realm. Such soul power was not something that ordinary people could possess. Therefore, Lu Ming immediately thought of the inheritance Qiu Yingying had obtained in the Emperor Song's secret realm. Yingying, does the soul cultivation technique you obtained have any offensive skills? Lu Ming asked. Yes. Qiu Yingying calmed herself down and nodded. Use it on me. Let me feel it. Use it with all your strength, Lu Ming said. Okay. Qiu Yingying nodded. She knew that Lu Ming was much stronger than her, so she did not hold back. Qiu Yingying's eyes began to change and became pitch black. At this moment, Lu Ming realized that his surroundings had changed. It had become a purgatory. Roar, roar. One by one, the purgatory fiends roared and charged toward Lu Ming. Illusion, Lu Ming muttered. Qiu Yingying's soul attack was an illusion. She used her powerful soul power to affect her opponent's soul and make him hallucinate. This kind of attack was mysterious and dangerous. Once a person fell into an illusion, he would be at the mercy of others. Break, Lu Ming whispered. His soul power shook slightly. The scene around him shattered like glass and returned to normal. Then, Qiu Yingying's delicate body trembled and she retreated. Her eyes returned to normal, but her face was pale. Yingying, are you okay? Lu Ming stepped forward and appeared beside Qiu Yingying. He asked with concern. Lu Ming's soul power was so powerful that it broke Qiu Yingying's illusion with a slight shake of his soul power. Even Qiu Yingying herself suffered from the backlash. I'm fine. It's just that my soul power shook a little. Lu Ming, your soul power is so powerful, Qiu Yingying said with amazement in her eyes. When her soul power came into contact with Lu Ming's soul power, she felt that Lu Ming's soul power was like a boundless ocean. Yingying, your soul attack is quite magical. I'll teach you a soul attack too, which will help your soul to rank up to the 8th layer martial dominator realm, or even higher. With that, no one below the high-level martial dominator realm in the Song continent would stand a chance against you. Lu Ming said. Really, really? Qiu Yingying asked. Of course it's real. Look at this. A demon crystal appeared in Lu Ming's hand. This is a demon crystal. Chapter 1679. Lu Ming had an idea when he saw Qiu Yingying. He wanted to increase Qiu Yingying's soul power and teach her the holy sword skill. In this way, Qiu Yingying would be able to defeat the other geniuses of LV6 martial royal realm. If Qiu Yingying attended the treasure ordering meeting, she would definitely surprise the others. Yingying, let's go to your room. I'll help you increase your soul power. Lu Ming said. Okay. Qiu Yingying nodded. Lu Ming and Qiu Yingying went to her room. Lu Ming took out a piece of demon crystal and helped Qiu Yingying refine it. With Lu Ming's help and Qiu Yingying's own efforts, the speed of refining the demon crystal greatly increased. After refining one piece, Qiu Yingying took out another piece. Her soul power increased explosively. A few hours later, Qiu Yingying's soul power had reached the level of an LV8 martial royal realm martial artist, and it was still increasing. 3 days later, her soul force had another breakthrough, reaching the 9th layer martial dominator realm. Lu Ming stopped refining the demon crystal for Qiu Yingying. Qiu Yingying needed some time to adapt to the sudden increase. Yingying, how about you attend the treasure ordering meeting in 7 days? Lu Ming asked. Me? Sure, I've been wanting to attend for a long time. Unfortunately, I wasn't chosen. Qiu Yingying was looking forward to it. Her cultivation was good, but her body constitution was too weak. It was just an ordinary spiritual body. Even if she wanted to attend the treasure ordering meeting, she would still be chosen. Okay, I'll let senior brother Zifeng know. By the way, here's the holy sword skill. It's a soul cultivation and attack technique. Take it. Lu Ming took out a jade talisman and gave it to Qiu Yingying. It was the holy sword skill. Qiu Yingying took it and scanned it with her spiritual consciousness. She was delighted. Although her illusion technique was mysterious, it was not very aggressive. With the help of the Holy Sword skill, it would be like adding wings to a tiger. Lu Ming, thank you. Qiu Yingying smiled. Then, as if she had thought of something, a jade talisman appeared in her hand. She handed it to Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, this is the soul art I practice. It might be useful to you. All right, then I won't hold back. Lu Ming didn't hesitate and put it away. Qiu Yingying's illusion technique was indeed very useful to Lu Ming. Yingying, you should familiarize yourself with your cultivation during this period of time. 7 days from now, you'll be participating in the treasure ordering meeting. Lu Ming said his goodbyes and left. After that, Lu Ming went to look for Su Lei and told her that he wanted her to participate in the treasure auction. Su Lei naturally agreed. With Su Lei's battle prowess, she also wanted to participate in the treasure peddling meeting. After that, Lu Ming returned to his room and entered the mountain river diagram. On a mountain peak, Ming Lian's second body was flowing with the power of formation Dao runes. He held a jade talisman in his hand, and the runes entered the jade talisman. Bubble was standing on the second body's shoulder and using the law of space-time to help the second body refine the jade talisman. Lu Ming was refining a kind of space-time teleportation talisman. It was sealed with a trace of the law of space-time. If it was crushed, one could instantly teleport 300 meters away. Lu Ming refined these jade talismans for the disciples of the Divine Dragon Valley, who would be participating in the treasure sorting meeting this time. He did not want the disciples of the Divine Dragon Valley to be so passive and be killed by others like what happened 3 years ago. After that, Lu Ming appeared on another mountain peak. With a wave of his hand, a dragon bone appeared in front of him. This dragon bone was obtained from Gusu City's ancestral lands. Lu Ming unleashed his devouring power and started to refine the essence of the dragon bone. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, it was the day of the treasure peddling meeting. At this time, Lu Ming had almost refined the dragon bone, but his spiritual body didn't improve. He was still an inferior heavenly spiritual body. As expected, it's too difficult for my spiritual body to evolve after becoming a heavenly spiritual body. I wonder if the 3,000 kilograms of supreme Saint Dragon Bone can help my spiritual body evolve? Lu Ming thought. Then he took out the mountain river diagram. Senior Lu Ming. Lu Ming. When Lu Ming appeared in the courtyard, he saw that Su Lei and Qiu Yingying were already there. Su Lei, Yingying, come with me. Lu Ming smiled and led Su Lei and Qiu Yingying to an open space in Dragon God Valley. There were dozens of people gathered there. They were the disciples of Dragon God Valley who were participating in the treasure peddling meeting. There were 2 people in front of them. One was a burly elder who was the Saint State elder. The other was Zifeng. As soon as Lu Ming arrived, everyone looked at Lu Ming, especially the disciples who were going to participate in the treasure peddling meeting. They looked at Lu Ming with admiration. 3 years ago, Lu Ming had single-handedly helped Dragon God Valley win the first place in the small gathering. Junior brother Lu, you're finally here. Zifeng's eyes lit up when he saw Lu Ming. He smiled. Senior brother Zifeng, elder. Lu Ming cupped his fists at Zifeng and the Saint State elder. Lu Ming, I heard from Zifeng that someone recommended you to participate in the treasure peddling meeting? The Saint State elder asked as he looked at Su Lei and Qiu Yingying. Yes, it's them. Lu Ming pointed at Qiu Yingying and Su Lei. The Saint State elder looked at Su Lei and Qiu Yingying with a strange light in his eyes. His eyes flickered as he glanced at Su Lei's figure. Her flesh is brimming with qi and blood, and her life force is as vigorous as fire. This is a superior earthly spiritual body, and her cultivation has reached the peak of the 6th layer martial dominator realm. I didn't know there was such a genius in the Dragon Valley. But this girl seems to have an ordinary spiritual body. Lu Ming, are you sure you want her to participate? The Saint State elder looked at Qiu Yingying with doubt. Don't worry, Elder. She'll surprise you. Lu Ming smiled. Okay, let's change them, the Saint State Elder said. He then changed the two weakest disciples to Chiu Yingying and Su Lei. At this moment, Lu Ming waved his hands, and pieces of jade talismans appeared in the air. There were a total of 36 of them. Junior brothers and sisters, this treasure peddling meeting will be targeted by the Divine Sky Sect, Poison Sect, and other sections. It will be very dangerous, just like 3 years ago. Lu Ming spoke. Many people's expressions changed as fear flashed across their faces. Indeed, if they were targeted by the Divine Sky Sect and other sects like 3 years ago, some of the weaker disciples would be in danger. However, Dragon God Valley had ordered them to participate, so they had to participate. They could only try their best to stay alive. But this time, I won't let you make the same mistake as 3 years ago. Each of you will have 1 jade talisman. If you're in danger, crush the jade talisman and you can move 300 meters away. Lu Ming said. These words caused the eyes of all the disciples present, including the Sage Realm Elders and Zifeng, to burn with passion. They didn't expect to have such a treasure that could save their lives at a critical moment. Chapter 1680. Thank you, Senior Brother Lu Ming. All the 36 disciples bowed to Lu Ming to express their gratitude. Most of these disciples had probably been in the sect longer than Lu Ming, but on the path of martial arts, the stronger one was the first. Back in the Dragon God Valley, Lu Ming had made Yin Zisong kneel with 2 roars. His cultivation was unfathomable. These people naturally addressed Lu Ming as senior brother. Great, haha, let's go. The Sage State Elder was overjoyed. After shouting, he led the group to the venue of the treasure sorting party. Lu Ming and Zifeng also went. It was still the same venue 3 years ago. When Lu Ming and the others arrived, they found that the place was already full. Around the fighting ring, there were 13 circular platforms. The other 12 sects had already arrived. Only one platform was empty, and that was platform number 10. 3 years ago, Lu Ming and the others were on that platform. The participating disciples of the Dragon God Valley landed on platform number 10, while the Sage State Elder flew to the pavilion behind. Lu Ming and Zifeng landed on the spectator stand behind platform number 10. There were already many disciples of the Dragon God Valley sitting on the spectator stand. 9th Junior Brother, come, sit here. Tian Chue and Xuanixin had also arrived. Tian Chue greeted Lu Ming. Lu Ming and Zifeng sat beside Tian Chue and Xuanixin. Haha, the Dragon God Valley is finally here. I thought you guys were scared and cowardly. On the spectator stand of the Heavenly Divinity Sect, a cold gaze swept towards Lu Ming. Luo Shuihan had also arrived. Wait a moment. The Dragon God Valley will let the Heavenly Divinity Sect know how to write the word cowardly. Lu Ming said indifferently, Is that so? Luo Shuihan's eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. Lu Ming, you are still as arrogant as ever. Wait a minute. Don't kill the disciples of Dragon God Valley because of you. There are also a few beauties inside. It would be a pity if they were killed by you. A cold voice sounded. Lu Ming looked towards the source of the voice, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Emoyang, the geniuses of the Sky Universe Demon Sect, had also come. Emoyang, back in the Tianfeng Plains, who ran faster than a dog. You forgot so quickly. Lu Ming sneered. Emoyang's face stiffened. Back then, in the Heavenly Wind Plains, Lu Ming had controlled a hurricane and chased him all over the place. He had always been brooding over this matter. Now that Lu Ming mentioned it, his face became even more gloomy. Humph. Lu Ming, you'd better pray that you don't encounter me in the treasure ranking meeting this time. Oh, I almost forgot. You still have to fight the godchild later on. In any case, you're dead for sure, so I can't be bothered to argue with a dead person. Emoyang said coldly. Around them, many people's hearts raced. This time, the treasure ranking meeting had attracted so many experts. Several of the top 10 geniuses had come. The treasure ranking meeting had not yet begun, but the geniuses and Lu Ming were already at daggers drawn. Is Xiao Qing not here? Lu Ming's eyes scanned the sky universe, demon, sex grandstand, and he was a little disappointed. It seemed that Xian Yanqing still had not come to Song Mountain. Otherwise, he would have guessed that Lu Ming would appear at the treasure ranking meeting. If Xian Yanqing had come, he would have definitely come to look for him. Since he had not appeared, it was likely that he was not coming. Junior brothers and sisters of the Celestial God sect, today, treat the people of Dragon God Valley well. Luo Shuihin's voice was heard. Junior brothers and sisters of the Sky Universe Demon sect, wait a moment. You must also treat the people of Dragon God Valley well. Mo Yang said coldly. On the other side, the people of the Desire Poison sect also looked coldly at the people of Dragon God Valley. Many people were astonished. Was the Dragon God Valley going to be targeted like 3 years ago? 3 years ago, Dragon God Valley had Lu Ming. Who would Dragon God Valley rely on this time? Moreover, it was said that there was only one top genius in Dragon God Valley. This time, Dragon God Valley would not be directly eliminated and could not even participate in the treasure ranking meeting, right? In the grandstand, many disciples of Dragon God Valley, who were above the 7th level of the martial royal realm, looked very gloomy. Damn it. Tian Chue gritted his teeth. Only Lu Ming looked calm. Zi Feng's face was also gloomy. Not long after, a Saint Realm Elder of the Celestial God sect appeared and announced the rules of the competition and the rewards. This time, the rewards were exactly the same as 3 years ago. It was still 7 Emperor Region elixirs, which made many people's eyes burn with excitement. Then the competition was announced. The Celestial God sect still occupied the number 1 platform and was the first to send someone to challenge. Whoosh! A young man from the Celestial God sect jumped onto the platform and emitted a powerful aura. He was a 6th level martial royal realm expert. He looked directly at Dragon God Valley and pointed at a 4th level martial royal realm youth. He said coldly, "You, come down and die." Many people were shocked. It was exactly the same as 3 years ago. The Celestial God sect directly sent out experts to kill the disciples of Dragon God Valley. Junior brother, stay alive first. The leader of Dragon God Valley this time was a young man in a purple robe from Violet Dragon Valley. Yes. The Dragon God Valley youth who was challenged nodded and jumped onto the platform. Die. The young man from the Celestial God sect charged towards the Dragon God Valley disciple. The Dragon God Valley disciple did not linger and rushed to the edge of the platform. You can't escape. You'll die. The young man from the Celestial God sect attacked coldly and instantly caught up with the Dragon God Valley disciple. The difference in cultivation was too great. The Dragon God Valley disciple could not even escape. Whoosh! The young man from the Celestial God sect formed a spear of divine punishment in his hand and stabbed towards the Dragon God Valley disciple. The Dragon God Valley disciple is dead meat. Such a thought appeared in many people's minds. At this moment, a ray of light shone from the Dragon God Valley disciple and enveloped him. In the next moment, his body trembled and disappeared. In the next moment, he reappeared 300 meters away. He was not far from the edge of the platform. The Dragon God Valley disciple took a few steps and rushed down the platform at lightning speed. What a powerful, life-saving talisman! Many people around saw through the talisman. On the platform, the Celestial God sect disciple snorted and returned to the first platform. You're lucky to have a life-saving talisman. However, there are still 35 people. Do they all have life-saving talismans? Only one more person can survive. Luo Shuihan said coldly. However, he did not see the joy in the eyes of the Dragon God Valley disciples. The jade talisman that Lu Ming gave them was really useful. They instantly felt more confident and more confident. Whoosh! Next, It was the second platform's turn to challenge the sections. The second platform was still the Sky Universe demon sect. In fact, the platforms that the sects landed on were almost the same as 3 years ago. A young man from the Sky Universe demon sect stepped onto the platform and looked towards the Dragon God Valley. "You, come down and die." Chapter 1681. Everyone knew that the Heavenly Divinity Sect and Empyrean Demon Sect had teamed up against the Divine Dragon Valley, just like 3 years ago. Bring it on. The disciple of the Divine Dragon Valley jumped onto the fighting ring and glared at the disciple of the Empyrean Demon Sect. "Brat, you're arrogant. I'll make you wish you were dead." The disciple of the Empyrean Demon Sect said coldly, "You want to kill me? Why don't we make a bet? If you can't kill me, you'll kneel down and kowtow to me." The disciple of the Divine Dragon Valley sneered. Now that he had the Jade Talisman, he had the confidence to protect his life, and his courage increased. "Brat, you're courting death." The disciple of the Empyrean Demon Sect charged at the disciple of the Divine Dragon Valley. The disciple of the Divine Dragon Valley took a step forward and rushed to the edge of the fighting ring. However, the disciple of the Demon Sect caught up with him and slashed his blade at the disciple of the Dragon God Valley. However, the same thing happened in the previous battle. The disciple of the Dragon God Valley emitted a bright light, and in the next moment he appeared 300 meters away and rushed out of the battle stage. "I've said that you can't kill me. So what if you're a rank 6 Marshal Royal?" The disciple of the Divine Dragon Valley said arrogantly. "Damn it!" The disciple of the Empyrean Demon Sect glared at him and returned to the fighting ring. Another life preservation talisman. Don't tell me everyone has one. Impossible. Such a life preservation talisman is extremely precious. The Divine Dragon Valley doesn't have many of them. A commotion broke out in the surroundings. The Divine Dragon Valley is really willing to give away such a precious item to save their lives. However, what's the point of having a life preservation talisman? If you can't win, the Divine Dragon Valley will be the first to be eliminated. Luo Shuihan said coldly. He was in a bad mood. He had said that he would kill the disciple of the Divine Dragon Valley, but now the disciple of the Divine Dragon Valley had saved his life. "Is that so?" Lu Ming smiled faintly, his expression calm. The challenges continued, and soon it was the Desire Poison Sect's turn. As expected, the Desire Poison Sect also sent out an expert to challenge the disciple of the Divine Dragon Valley. However, the disciple of the Divine Dragon Valley saved his life with a life preservation talisman and rushed down the fighting ring. The crowd was dumbfounded. Don't tell me the Divine Dragon Valley is giving everyone a talisman? However, this was useless. Even if he could survive, he would be targeted by the 3 great sections. He would definitely be the first to be defeated and eliminated. At that time, he wouldn't even be able to participate in the treasure ranking meeting. 3 years ago, there was Lu Ming. In the end, the Herculean king, Quanlan, suppressed all the heroes. This time, who was there in Dragon God Valley? It was said that the quality of Dragon God Valley's prodigies this time was far inferior to 3 years ago. As for the Heavenly Divinity Sect, it was said that the geniuses of the Heavenly Divinity Sect were stronger than 3 years ago. There were 4 geniuses who had reached the peak of the 6th layer Martial Dominator realm and possessed the superior earthly spiritual body, which was one more than 3 years ago. The Empyrean Demon Sect and the Poison Sect weren't any weaker than they were 3 years ago. In that case, Dragon God Valley had no chance at all. The competition continued, and soon it was Dragon God Valley's turn. What was different from 3 years ago was that this time the Dragon God Valley disciples had life-saving talismans and could counterattack in advance. The leader of Dragon God Valley sent out a 6th layer Martial Dominator to challenge a 4th layer Martial Dominator from the Heavenly Divinity Sect and killed him. The disciples of the Heavenly Divinity Sect and Luo Shuihan's faces darkened. They didn't manage to kill a disciple of Dragon God Valley. Instead, one of them was killed by Dragon God Valley. Today, Dragon God Valley will be the first to be eliminated. Luo Shuihan said coldly. Hey, Luo, can you shut your mouth? You were already saying that you wanted to entertain my Dragon God Valley's disciples and kill them. Now that you can't kill them, you're saying that you want to be the first to eliminate my Dragon God Valley's disciples. Do you think you can rely on your mouth alone? Don't you feel pain when you slap your own face? Lu Ming said disdainfully. Ha ha ha. Uft. Tian Chue, Xuaningxin, and the others beside Lu Ming burst into laughter. Then the other disciples of Dragon God Valley laughed as well. Hiccup. Luo Shuihan clenched his fists so tightly that his veins popped out. Soon the first round was over, and the second round began. The second round was the same as the first. The Heavenly Divinity Sect, Empyrean Demon Sect, and Desire Poison Sect sent out their experts to challenge Dragon God Valley. However, everyone from Dragon God Valley had a talisman, so none of them were killed. The people from the other sects were dumbfounded. Dragon God Valley had so many talismans to protect themselves. These talismans weren't very useful in other places. If the difference in strength was too great, the others would be able to catch up to them in a few moves. However, it was different on the battle stage. On the battle stage, 300 meters was enough to escape the battle stage and save one's life. The Heavenly Divinity Sect and the other two sects were helpless. What made the Heavenly Divinity Sect vomit blood was that when Dragon God Valley challenged them, they would send out their experts to kill a weakling from the Heavenly Divinity Sect. They couldn't kill Dragon God Valley's disciples, but Dragon God Valley could kill them. It was the same for every round after that. In every round, Dragon God Valley would lose 3 disciples, but one of them would be able to kill a disciple from the Heavenly Divinity Sect. Soon the 8th round was over. 24 people from Dragon God Valley had been defeated, and only 12 were left. However, 8 people from the Heavenly Divinity Sect had been killed by Dragon God Valley. These were all geniuses, and the Heavenly Divinity Sect was heartbroken. They finally had a taste of what it felt like to be killed by Dragon God Valley 3 years ago. The Heavenly Divinity Sect had no way out. They could only eliminate Dragon God Valley as soon as possible to reduce their losses. The 9th round. Whoosh! A genius from the Heavenly Divinity Sect jumped onto the battle stage, and a violent aura filled the entire area. He was a peak-level 6 martial royal realm cultivator, although he wasn't one of the 4 strongest geniuses from the Heavenly Divinity Sect. He was one of the 4 strongest geniuses. He glanced at the Dragon God Valley. The remaining 12 people from Dragon God Valley were all level 6 martial royal realm cultivators. Little girl, come down. The genius from the Heavenly Divinity Sect looked at Qiu Yingying and said coldly, It's finally my turn. Qiu Yingying's eyes lit up as she stepped onto the battle stage. You must have a life-saving talisman with you. If that's the case, get off the battle stage yourself. Don't let me kill you, the genius from the Heavenly Divinity Sect said flatly. Qiu Yingying's cultivation was only at the early level 6 martial royal realm. She didn't look strong, and her vitality wasn't strong. She was obviously a person with an ordinary body constitution. Dragon God Valley had sent a person with an ordinary body constitution. They had no other geniuses. Zifeng Lu Ming, you actually let a woman with an ordinary physique take part in the match. Has the Divine Dragon Valley declined to this extent? Can't you even send a decent person? Luo Shuihan sneered. He wouldn't let go of the chance to mock Dragon God Valley. Wait, don't slap your own face again. Chapter 1682. Oh, an early-stage martial royal realm cultivator with an ordinary body constitution. What else can he do other than escape with a life-saving talisman? Luo Shuihan sneered. Lu Ming ignored Luo Shuihan and looked at the fighting ring. I don't know how to use a life-saving talisman. Qiu Yingying said, You don't need a life-saving talisman. The eyes of the Heavenly God Sect's genius lit up. No, I don't need a life-saving talisman to deal with you. Qiu Yingying said. Her words made him burst out laughing. Many people from the Heavenly God sect and the Heavenly Universe Demon sect laughed as well. An early-stage martial royal realm cultivator with an ordinary spiritual body said that he didn't need a life-saving talisman to deal with a sixth martial royal realm cultivator from the Heavenly God sect. How arrogant and presumptuous! If you don't need a life-saving talisman, die. The Heavenly God sect's genius said coldly. Holy light surrounded him as he took a step forward. A holy light sword appeared in his hand, and he slashed at Chiu Yingying. However, Chiu Yingying changed in his eyes. Chiu Yingying seemed to have disappeared in front of him. His surroundings changed and turned into a purgatory. Countless demons charged at the Heavenly God sect's genius. How can this be? Get lost! The Heavenly God sect's genius roared. His sword, Qi, slashed at the demons. The demons were killed one after another, but more demons pounced on him. He started a fierce battle with the demons. Of course, he only saw it with his own eyes. Most of the people present were dumbfounded. They only saw the Heavenly God sect's prodigy charging at Chiu Yingying aggressively. But halfway there, he suddenly stopped and let out an inexplicable roar. Then he began to randomly attack the air. Chiu Yingying just stood there motionless. The Heavenly God sect's genius was fighting fiercely. Everyone present was dumbfounded. What's this old man doing? Even the disciples of the Divine Dragon Valley were dumbfounded. Only 2 people had calm expressions on their faces. One of them was Lu Ming, and the other was Chiu Hao. Chiu Hao knew that Chiu Yingying's inheritance could use soul illusions. Junior brother Lu Ming, you already knew about it. Zi Feng took a deep breath and looked at the calm Lu Ming. He finally understood why Lu Ming wanted Chiu Yingying to participate in the competition. Yes, senior brother, look down. Lu Ming nodded and smiled. Zhao 7, what are you doing? Luo Shuian shouted from the Heavenly Divinity sect's grandstand. His face was burning. What was Zhao 7th doing? However, his shout was useless. The Heavenly Celestial sect's elite disciple was still wildly hacking at the air as he shouted, "Kill and scram!" At this moment, Chiu Yingying took a light step forward, and a long sword appeared in her hand. She walked toward her opponent. It was as if the other party couldn't see Chiu Yingying at all. He swung his sword randomly, but none of his attacks hit Chiu Yingying. Zhao 7, what are you doing? Retreat! Retreat! The Heavenly God sect's people shouted loudly. But it was useless. Zhao 7th did not seem to be able to hear him. Chiu Yingying arrived in front of Zhao 7th and stabbed him with her sword. Zhao 7th did not react at all. His dantian was pierced by Chiu Yingying's sword. At this moment, Zhao 7th finally stopped his random slashing. His eyes widened as he stared blankly at Chiu Yingying. He stared blankly at the long sword that had pierced through his dantian and destroyed his spiritual spirit. He continued to spit out blood, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. Buzz! Chiu Yingying's sword vibrated, and Zhao 7th was sent flying. He was no longer breathing. The entire area was silent. Chiu Yingying's attack was too strange. Zhao 7th had died in a strange way. Great! After a while, the disciples of the Divine Dragon Valley burst into cheers. The disciples of the Heavenly Divinity sect looked gloomy. An early-stage LV6 martial royal realm cultivator with an ordinary spiritual body can do this. She can easily kill your elite disciple. Do you see that? Lu Ming looked at Luo Shuihan and said coldly. His voice was filled with mockery. Luo Shuihan gritted his teeth, and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. He had just said that an early-stage LV6 martial royal realm cultivator with an ordinary spiritual body could not do anything other than using talismans to save her life. Now, it was proven that she could kill the elite disciple of the Heavenly Divinity sect. This was a slap to his face. I told you to cut the crap. Otherwise, you'll only slap your own face. Now do you feel good? Lu Ming continued. Lu Ming, don't be too happy. The treasure peddling meeting is not over yet. Luo Shuihan gritted his teeth. Then, let's continue watching. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Qiu Yingying killed her opponent and returned to the platform. Then the Tianyu demon sect and the poison sect were more cautious and eliminated 2 more disciples of the Divine Dragon Valley. In this way, the Divine Dragon Valley was left with 10 people. When it was the Divine Dragon Valley's turn, they did not continue to challenge the Heavenly Divinity sect. Instead, they turned their attention to the Tianyu demon sect and killed one of their disciples. Soon, the 9th round was over, and the 10th round began. From the 10th round onwards, no one dared to challenge Qiu Yingying. Qiu Yingying was put aside for the time being. After another 2 rounds, 6 more people were eliminated. Only 4 people were left. They were the leaders, Qiu Yingying, Su Lei, and a genius from the Ice Dragon Valley. The Divine Dragon Valley had the least number of people. Why is the situation so similar to 3 years ago? The Divine Dragon Valley had the least number of people in the beginning, but they turned the tables in the end. Will the Divine Dragon Valley turn the tables this time? Many people were discussing. Impossible. 3 years ago, the Divine Dragon Valley had Lu Ming, but this time there's no way another Lu Ming will appear. Although Qiu Yingying's skills are mysterious, she might be able to defeat a top elite disciple. That's right. If they want to turn the tables like 3 years ago, they have to be like Lu Ming and be able to defeat all of them. Otherwise, there's no hope. While everyone was discussing, a new round began. This time, the Heavenly Divinity sect sent a top elite to challenge the Divine Dragon Valley. He was one of the 4 most powerful people from the Heavenly Divinity sect. His name was Kai Ying, a peak LV6 martial royal realm cultivator with a superior earth spiritual body. Kai Ying glanced at the 4 people from the Divine Dragon Valley and finally fixed his eyes on Su Lei. He said, "Come and fight me." This time, the Heavenly Divinity sect was tough. They wanted to eliminate the Divine Dragon Valley first. Su Lei's cultivation was strong, and her blood qi was vigorous. She gave off a strong pressure. No one had challenged her before. Su Lei's eyes lit up, and she flew up to the fighting ring. "Hello, hello, why don't we stop here?" Su Lei said timidly. Her words made everyone look at each other. Su Lei looked strong, but why was she as timid as a mouse? A smile appeared on Kai Ying's face. Chapter 1683. Little girl, I'll give you a chance. Surrender and join the Heavenly Divinity sect, and I'll let you go. Kai Ying said calmly. He was too embarrassed to kill a little girl like her. No, no. Su Lei shook her head vigorously and said, I won't surrender. I'm a disciple of the Divine Dragon Valley. I told you not to go too far because I don't want to kill you. What? Many people were dumbfounded. Su Lei said not to go too far because she was afraid that Kai Ying would be killed. Many people shook their heads and laughed. Kai Ying was the top-notch genius at the Treasure Ding Ding small gathering. Unless it was the demon Lu Ming from 3 years ago, no one would be able to kill Kai Ying. At most, they would be able to defeat him. Little girl, you're just pretending to be innocent. You're courting death. Kai Ying was enraged, and his eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. He thought that Su Lei was playing with him. Swoosh! Kai Ying's body flashed, and he threw a palm at Su Lei. A huge yellow palm pressed down on Su Lei. Kai Ying didn't practice the sacred cultivation technique of the Heavenly Divinity sect, but something else. A dragon's roar came from Su Lei's body. Then Su Lei threw a palm out. Boom! Su Lei's small hand slapped against the large brown hand. The large brown hand seemed to have been frozen by a gust of cold air. With a bang, it shattered. Mountain-crushing fist. Since Kai Ying's attack failed, he continued to throw out punches with both his fists. Streaks of earthy yellow fists were like huge mountains as they pressed down on Su Lei. Su Lei's petite body looked like she would be drowned at any time. The hearts of some people in the Divine Dragon Valley rose to their throats. Suddenly, a dark Yin river appeared on Su Lei's body, and it emitted a terrifying cold air. The dark Een River surrounded Su Lei's body. She spun her palms in the air, and a terrifying cold current burst out. The mountain-like fist radiance was shattered. Then, Su Lei took a step forward and rushed towards Kai Ying. With a palm strike, the dark Een River transformed into a dark Een dragon and danced in the air, destroying everything in its path. Kai Ying's pupils rapidly shrank as he frantically punched out with both his fists. However, wherever the mysterious Een dragon passed, all of his attacks were destroyed. Kai Ying was shocked. He took a step forward, and 18 yellow walls appeared in front of him. He wanted to block the dark Een dragon's attack. The enigmatic Een dragon roared and turned back into the enigmatic Een River. The enigmatic Een River expanded rapidly, and the water flooded the sky, drowning Kai Ying in the river. "Keep," Su Lei said softly, and kept the dark Een River. Kai Ying stood stiffly on the fighting stage. There was no aura on his body. Dead. Kai Ying was dead, killed by Su Lei. Bang! At this moment, Kai Ying's body shattered like an ice cube. Hiss! The crowd took a deep breath. Their gazes toward Su Lei were filled with astonishment. The seemingly timid and harmless Su Lei had actually killed Kai Ying. Kai Ying was a peak-level cultivator with a high-grade, earthly spiritual body. Yet Su Lei was able to kill him. Great! The Dragon God Valley erupted into cheers, while the Heavenly God sect was dead silent. Luo Shuihan's face was so gloomy that it was about to drip water. A genius with a superior earth spiritual body had died. It was a great loss. A genius with a superior earth spiritual body had the potential to become one of the top 10 monstrous geniuses in the Tsang state. The Heavenly God sect had become stronger in the past few decades. They were becoming the top sect in the Tsang state. That was why they had recruited so many geniuses. It was good enough for the other sects to have 1 or 2 geniuses. Is the Dragon God Valley going to turn the tables like they did 3 years ago? Many people had the same thought. Su Lei was able to kill even the most elite of geniuses. She truly had the strength to turn the tides of the battle. The top geniuses of the other sects looked at Su Lei with fear and seriousness. Many people in the Dragon God Valley looked at Lu Ming with admiration. They knew that Su Lei and Qiu Yingying were recommended by Lu Ming. They didn't expect them to be so monstrous. Lu Ming smiled. There were differences in strength between spiritual bodies of the same level. Su Lei's mystical Een dragon body was undoubtedly a terrifying body constitution. "I told you not to go too far, but you didn't listen," Su Lei muttered softly. Although her voice was soft, it was heard by everyone. Many people were speechless. The people of the Heavenly God sect wanted to vomit blood. In the beginning, who knew that Su Lei had such powerful strength? Su Lei mumbled a few words and returned to the platform. "Senior brother Lu Ming, am I okay?" Su Lei looked at Lu Ming and asked timidly, "I'm not bad. But Su Lei, you can't go easy on your enemies. If you don't kill them, they will kill you and your family. Do you understand?" Lu Ming said, Su Lei understands." Su Lei nodded. This made the hearts of the disciples of the Heavenly God sect, Heavenly Universe Demon sect, and Poison sect sink. "We have to change our tactics," the leader of the Heavenly Universe Demon sect said. The leaders of the Heavenly God sect and Poison sect looked pale. They looked at each other and nodded helplessly. In the beginning, they wanted to eliminate the Dragon God Valley in advance by taking turns. But now, the Dragon God Valley had Su Lei who could kill top supreme talents. This was troublesome. If they took turns to take turns, they might lose their lives. By then, they wouldn't even be able to participate in the treasure assembly. They could only take the same path as 3 years ago and eliminate a few weaker sects to maintain their position in the top 10. This made them want to vomit blood. They came aggressively at the beginning and wanted to eliminate the Dragon God Valley first. But now, they had to take the same path as 3 years ago. There was nothing more ironic than this. The disciples of the three major sects, especially Luo Shuihan and Emoyang, looked even gloomier. Could it be that things would really develop like they did 3 years ago? Many people thought so. If that was the case, the Heavenly God sect and the other two major sects would be humiliated. After that, the Heavenly Universe Demon sect began to send people to challenge the weaker sections. It was the Dragon God Valley's turn to continue killing the supreme talents of the three major sections. But the three major sects had no choice but to accept it. Round after round, the battles continued. After many rounds, the three weakest factions were finally eliminated by the Celestial Sect, the Sky Universe Demon Sect, and the Desire Poison Sect. The top 10 was born. After the top 10 was born, the Heavenly God Sect, Heavenly Universe Demon Sect, and Poison Sect finally took action against the Dragon God Valley. Let's take turns to eliminate the Dragon God Valley. The eyes of the supreme talents of the three major sects were burning. The Heavenly God sect first sent a supreme talent to challenge the Dragon God Valley. The supreme talent of the Ice Dragon Valley was defeated. Then, the Heavenly Universe Demon sect sent a supreme talent to fight the leader of the Dragon God Valley. The battle was intense, but in the end, the supreme talent of the Heavenly Universe Demon sect was stronger. He came prepared and defeated the leader of the Dragon God Valley. Chapter 1684. The situation was becoming more and more similar to 3 years ago. However, would Qiu Yingying and Su Lei be able to fend off the attacks? Soon, it was the Desire Poison sect's turn. Qiu Yingying must be skilled in soul attacks. She has a strong soul and can create illusions. You just have to remain calm and use your poisonous insects to deal with Qiu Yingying. Luo Shuihan sent a message to the Desire Poison sect's genius. The Desire Poison sect's genius's eyes lit up, and he cupped his fists at Luo Shuihan to express his gratitude. Humph, Lu Ming, don't think that I can't do anything to you just because you found someone skilled in soul power. Let's see how she'll die. Luo Shuihan looked at Lu Ming, her eyes flashing coldly. Sensing Luo Shuihan's gaze, Lu Ming's lips curled into a faint sneer. Whoosh! The Desire Poison sect's genius jumped onto the fighting stage and challenged Qiu Yingying. Qiu Yingying stepped onto the fighting stage and stood to the side without moving. The two of them faced each other. The Desire Poison sect's genius emitted a poisonous gas from his body. At the same time, poisonous insects flew out of his body and circled around him. However, the Desire Poison sect's genius did not attack. Instead, the poisonous gas around him surged toward Qiu Yingying. At this moment, Qiu Yingying's eyes turned pitch black. They were like two deep wells, pitch black and unfathomable. At that moment, the Desire Poison sect's genius realized that the scene around him had changed. It had turned into hell. Countless demons waved their demonic weapons and charged toward him. Illusions. It's all illusions. The genius of the Desire Poison sect told himself that he would stand still and let the fiends slash at him. Those abyss devils rushed past like phantoms. Haha, it's useless. It's all illusions. The Desire Poison sect's youth was overjoyed. He circulated his true origin and released poisonous gas. He could not see where Qiu Yingying was because of the illusions. However, as long as he filled the fighting stage with poisonous gas, Qiu Yingying, who had an ordinary spiritual body, would not be able to hold on for long. At that moment, Qiu Yingying stepped forward and walked toward the Desire Poison sect's genius. Many people watched anxiously. Qiu Yingying had killed a genius of the Celestial God sect, just like that. Would it be the same as the last time? Qiu Yingying arrived in front of the Desire Poison sect's prodigy and thrust her sword forward. However, at that moment, the poisonous insects that were flying around the Desire Poison sect's prodigy suddenly transformed into a battle sword and charged toward Qiu Yingying. Qiu Yingying's expression changed. She blocked the attack with her long sword, but her body shook and was sent flying. At the same time, wisps of poisonous gas crawled up Qiu Yingying's body and corroded her protective Jinyuan and domain. Haha, this move of hers is useless. The poisonous insects of the Desire Poison sect can sense her aura and automatically attack her. This woman is dead for sure. In the stands, Luo Shuihan laughed heartily, revealing a smug expression. You're not afraid of being slapped in the face again? Lu Ming glanced at Luo Shuihan indifferently. Humph, she's proficient in soul power and can create illusions. Don't think that I can't see through it. But now illusions are useless. With her cultivation, she's doomed. Luo Shuihan sneered with a confident expression. But at this moment, the situation on the battle stage suddenly changed. Die! Qiu Yingying shouted. 2 pitch-black sword lights shot out from her eyes and pierced into the body of the Desire Poison sex prodigy. The Desire Poison sex prodigy let out a shrill cry as poisonous gas surged around his body. In the next moment, the prodigy of the Desire Poison sex prodigy collapsed on the battle stage. Dead. The prodigy of the Desire Poison sect had died, just like that. How could this be? Everyone was shocked. They had only seen Qiu Yingying shout, and the prodigy of the Desire Poison sect had died. He was a top prodigy. Bam! Luo Shuihan slammed his palm on his seat, shattering it. His face was burning. He had just said that Qiu Yingying was doomed. But in the next moment, the prodigy of the Desire Poison sect had died. It was like a slap to his face. Luo Shuihan, won't your face swell? Lu Ming laughed disdainfully. Everything was within Lu Ming's expectations. Qiu Yingying's current soul power was too strong. It was equivalent to the soul power of a LV9 martial royal realm martial artist. Previously, Qiu Yingying had only used the soul power of a LV7 martial royal realm martial artist. Just now, Qiu Yingying had unleashed her strongest soul power and used the divine sword art. The prodigy of the Desire Poison sect was unable to resist, and his soul was destroyed. In this competition, where the strongest cultivator was only an LV6 martial royal realm martial artist, Qiu Yingying was unbeatable. 3 years ago, when Lu Ming had participated in the treasure sorting convention, his soul power was not as strong as Qiu Yingying's. Luo Shuihan's face turned red when he heard Qiu Yingying's disdainful voice. The prodigies of the Celestial God sect, the Sky Universe Demon sect, and the Desire Poison sect were silent. She had killed a top prodigy with just a shout. How could they continue the battle? Would it work if they took turns? Would they be courting death? How many times could she launch such an attack with her soul power? They had no idea. Qiu Yingying took her opponent's storage ring and returned to the stage. The competition continued. There were only 2 people left in the Dragon God Valley, but no one dared to challenge them. Soon, it was the Dragon God Valley's turn. Su Lei stepped onto the fighting ring and looked at one of the top prodigies of the Celestial God sect. The top genius of the Heavenly God sect wore a solemn expression. After exchanging 2 blows with Su Lei, he actually wanted to rush off the fighting stage, not daring to continue fighting. Dark Yin River. Su Lei intertwined with Su Lei, and the Dark Yin River swept toward her opponent. No. Her opponent was terrified. He used all his strength to resist the attack, but the result was his death. He froze to death in the Dark Yin River. The Celestial God sect had lost 2 top prodigies. Damn it! What should we do? What should we do? The 2 girls from the Dragon God Valley are too strong. We can't defeat them. The top prodigies of the Celestial God sect, the Sky Universe Demon sect, and the Desire Poison sect panicked. If they were targeted by Su Lei and Qiu Yingying, they would die. The remaining top prodigies of the 3 sects were especially afraid. With their talents, they did not want to die here. Lu Ming, I will make the Dragon God Valley pay with their blood at the treasure sorting assembly. Luo Shuihan said coldly from the spectator's stand. Then he rose into the air and left. He did not want to watch what happened next. The result seemed to have been decided. The remaining prodigies of the three sects had lost their courage to fight. They only wanted to save their own lives. Of course, they could save their own lives, but it would be embarrassing. Humph! Mo Yang also stood up and left after Luo Shuihan. Sure enough, when it was the celestial god sect's turn to challenge, they sent out a top prodigy. However, he did not challenge the Dragon God Valley. Instead, he challenged a top prodigy from the Sky Universe demon sect. Then, the two of them exchanged a few blows before both of them left the fighting ring. They were despised by everyone. Chapter 1685. The Celestial Divinity Sect and the Empyrean Demon Sect's actions were obviously to save their own lives. Otherwise, when the Dragon God Valley challenged them, another elite genius would die. When it was the Empyrean Demon Sect's turn, they also sent out a top genius to challenge a top genius from the Celestial God Sect. The two of them exchanged a few blows and fell off the fighting ring. In this way, the top geniuses from the Celestial God Sect and the Empyrean Demon Sect were all defeated. Ha ha ha, what are they doing? Are they playing house? Tian Chui laughed loudly, and his voice echoed throughout the area. Senior brother, there's something you don't know. These people bully the weak and fear the strong. They bully those who are easy to bully and act all high and mighty. When they see that they are no match for them, they are scared to death. In order to save their lives, they will resort to any means. Xuaningxin added, No wonder Mo Yang and Luo Shuihan ran away so quickly. They probably can't stand it anymore. Tian Chui grinned. The two of them echoed each other, and the people from the Celestial God Sect and the Empyrean Demon Sect were so angry that they almost vomited blood. However, they could not refute them. It was too embarrassing. This time, the sects had lost all their face. It was even more embarrassing than 3 years ago. 3 years ago, they could still fight. This time, they did not even dare to fight. I have something to do. I'll take my leave first. I'll take my leave too. At this time, some disciples of the Celestial God Sect and the Empyrean Demon Sect, who were above the 7th level of the martial royal realm, stood up and left. It was too embarrassing to stay any longer. The people from the Dragon God Valley were extremely happy. They felt that their minds were clear and their thoughts were clear. This time, the Dragon God Valley had not lost a single person, but had killed so many top geniuses from the Celestial God Sect. It was too satisfying. More people knew that it was because of Lu Ming. It was all because of Lu Ming that this was the outcome. If Lu Ming had not taken out the life-saving talisman, a group of people would have died when they were targeted by the 3 sections. Su Lei and Qiu Yingying were also brought in by Lu Ming. They did not expect Su Lei and Qiu Yingying to be so terrifying. This time they had slapped the faces of the Celestial God Sect, the Empyrean Demon Sect, and the Poison Sect. Then the competition continued. When it was the Desire Poison Sect's turn, they no longer had any top prodigies. The only one they had was killed by Qiu Yingying. They sent out a random prodigy to challenge another sect. There was no suspense in the next challenge. Every time it was Dragon God Valley's turn to challenge, one of the 3 sects would definitely be killed. As a result, the 3 great sects had no desire to continue fighting. They would directly challenge each other. Every time, both sides would suffer great losses. Their goal was to preserve their lives. This continued until the Heavenly Divine Sect, Heavenly Universe Devil Sect, and Poison Desire Sect were the first to be eliminated. This process was very similar to what happened 3 years ago. However, this time, the remaining top geniuses from the other sects were unable to defeat Su Lei and Qiu Yingying. 3 years ago, Lu Ming was alone. At that time, Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 4th layer of the Martial Emperor realm, so they could take turns to fight him. But this time, Su Lei and Qiu Yingying were 2 people, so they could take turns to rest. Fighting in a chaotic battle was not very effective. In the end, the geniuses had no choice but to tell Qiu Yingying and Su Lei that it was just a friendly match. They were defeated one by one. The rest of the competition was very boring because there was no more suspense. In the end, only Su Lei and Qiu Yingying were left in the fighting ring. After 3 years, Dragon God Valley had won the treasure Peking Convention again without losing a single person. This had never happened before in history. The Saint Realm Elder of the Heavenly Divine Sect was as black as charcoal. After giving the 7 Emperor Region elixirs to Su Lei and Qiu Yingying, he left with the disciples of the Heavenly Divine Sect. The Heavenly Universe Devil Sect and Poison Desire Sect also left with their tails between their legs. The Saint Realm Elder of Dragon God Valley walked out, grinning from ear to ear. The battle ended with Dragon God Valley's complete victory. The disciples of Dragon God Valley happily returned to their encampment. Junior brother Lu Ming, you must be careful at the Treasure Peking Convention in 7 days. I'm afraid Mo Yang and Luo Shuihan will target you. Zi Feng said worriedly. Don't worry. Lu Ming smiled. Everyone went back to their rooms to prepare for the Treasure Peking Convention in 7 days. Lu Ming also went to his room, but before he reached it, a disciple of Dragon God Valley came to report to Lu Ming that someone wanted to see Lu Ming. Lu Ming was curious. Who could it be? There was a quiet bamboo forest at the back of the mountain of Dragon God Valley. When Lu Ming stepped into the bamboo forest, his eyes lit up. In front of him was a lady in a white dress. She was beautiful and stood in the bamboo forest like a fairy from a painting. Xian Yinjuan. Although Xian Yinjuan and Xian Yinqing looked almost the same, Lu Ming could still recognize him at a glance. Lu Ming did not expect the person looking for him to be Xian Yinjuan. Xian Yinjuan, long time no see. Lu Ming stepped forward and said faintly, Ever since the Sky God sect and other sects went to the Divine Ruins mainland to recruit disciples, Xian Yinjuan was chosen by the Sky God sect and came to the Yuan continent. They had not seen each other for almost 6 years. Xian Yinjuan had come to the Yuan continent 2 years earlier than them. All these years, Xian Yinjuan had not shown himself. Why did he look for Lu Ming now? Long time no see indeed. I already know about the Divine Wilderness mainland. Xian Yinjuan said with a faint smile. Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he looked at Xian Yinjuan and said, You sent people to the Divine Wilderness? That's right. But don't worry, I did not interfere with the matters of the Divine Wilderness mainland. After all, the Divine Wilderness mainland is too small. It's not enough to fight for it. It's good that the Xie family ended up like that. Xian Yinjuan said softly. Oh, you came to look for me because of this? Lu Ming asked as he heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. Of course not. I came to look for you because of the Divine Sun. I want to tell you a secret about the Divine Sun. Xian Yinjuan said. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He did not speak and looked at Xian Yinjuan. Lu Ming, let me tell you, the Divine Sun has broken through to the great success Bright Sage realm not long ago. Xian Yinjuan continued. Oh, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The Divine Sun had indeed broken through. Moreover, the Divine Sun has cultivated a secret skill. If he explodes it, he can increase his combat strength for a short period of time. Xian Yinjuan continued. Why are you telling me this? Lu Ming asked. Why would Xian Yinjuan be so kind to tell him the Divine Sun's secret? One had to know that Xian Yinjuan was also a member of the Celestial Divinity Sect and the Saintess of the Celestial Divinity Sect. Back when Lu Ming first came to the Yuan continent and entered the Emperor Tsong's secret realm, Xian Yinjuan had even asked someone to kill him. Now he was so kind to remind him of the Divine Sun's secret. Lu Ming was naturally puzzled. I'll say the same thing again. The Divine Wilderness mainland is too small. Now look at the Tsong state and even the entire Yuan continent. Chapter 1686. Lu Ming understood. Xian Yinjuan was very ambitious. She wanted to control the Celestial Sect. However, in order to control the Celestial Sect, she had to get rid of the God Sun first, because the God Sun was the most popular candidate for the next sect master of the Celestial Sect. With the God Sun, it would be more difficult for Xian Yinjuan to control the Celestial Sect. She wanted to borrow Lu Ming's hand to get rid of the God Sun, so she told Lu Ming the secret. I'm only a half-step sage now, but the godson is already in the great success stage of the bright sage realm. I'm afraid I'm no match for the godson. Even if you tell me this, I'm afraid it's useless. Lu Ming stared at Xian Yinjuan and said, You came from a remote family in the divine wilderness continent, unified the divine wilderness, established the Dragon Alliance, and even killed all the experts in the divine ruins continent. Lu Ming, I believe that the godson won't be a problem for you. Xian Yinjuan said. After she finished speaking, she smiled in a flirtatious manner. Then she turned around and left. This woman was very ambitious. Lu Ming's eyes flashed, but he had to admit that Xian Yinjuan's information was very useful to Lu Ming. The godson had already broken through to the great success stage of the Bright Sage realm, and he knew a secret technique that allowed him to have a short burst of combat strength. When Lu Ming's cultivation level was still low, he had come into contact with many secret skills that allowed one to increase their combat power within a short period of time. However, those secret skills and means were only useful when one's cultivation level was low. At his current cultivation level, those secret skills were completely useless. In this way, Lu Ming was mentally prepared. Otherwise, he would be in danger if the god's sun suddenly burst out. Great success stage of the Bright Sage realm. Lu Ming's eyes flashed, and he returned to his room. After entering the mountain and river diagram, Lu Ming took out a pile of dragon bones and began to devour and refine them. This pile of dragon bones was bought by Lu Ming in the Supreme Treasure Pavilion. They were the bones of a great sage true dragon, and their spiritual essence was preserved very well. Time passed day by day. Soon, it was time for the treasure sorting convention. As for Lu Ming, he had finally refined all 3,000 kilograms of dragon bones. Still not enough. Lu Ming sighed softly. Even after refining all 3,000 kilograms of great sage-level dragon bone, Lu Ming's spirit body still hadn't evolved. It was still a low-grade spirit body. The amount of true dragon essence needed to evolve the heavenly spiritual body was beyond imagination. A huge amount of essence energy was stored in Lu Ming's body, but it hadn't accumulated to the point of evolution. In the future, he would need to refine more true dragon essence before the energy would erupt and evolve. It's almost time for the treasure sorting convention. Lu Ming got up and exited the mountain and river diagram. As soon as he left the mountain and river diagram, he ran into Tian Chue, Xuaningxin, Su Lei, Qiu Yingying, Qiu Hao, and Lu Xiangxiang. Ninth junior brother, you've finally come out of seclusion. The treasure sorting convention is about to begin. Let's go and meet up with the others. Tian Chue said, All right. Lu Ming nodded. The group flew towards an open space. When they arrived, they found that there were already many people there. In the middle of the open space were the participants of the treasure sorting convention. Lu Ming, Tian Chue, and Xuaningxin flew down and met up with the others. Junior brother Lu Ming. Zifeng nodded at Lu Ming kindly. There were others who also greeted Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled in response. Of course, there were also cold gazes that looked at Lu Ming, such as Yin Zisong. They were surrounded by disciples of the divine Dragon Valley. There were even elders among them. Second senior brother, third senior brother. Lu Ming looked around and saw his second senior brother Long Yuan Shan and third senior brother Yang Tianzong. The two of them nodded and smiled at Lu Ming. At this time, an old man in a purple robe walked over in the air. There were several other old men beside him, each of them exuding a vast aura. Purple Dragon Valley Master! Someone exclaimed. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He did not expect the Purple Dragon Valley Master to come personally. Among the 7 valleys of the Dragon God Valley, the Purple Dragon Valley was undoubtedly in the top 3. The Purple Dragon Valley Master was also a rare expert in the Dragon God Valley. I will lead the treasure sorting convention this time. You must do your best to bring glory to the Dragon God Valley. Those who contribute in the treasure sorting convention will be heavily rewarded by the sect. Of course, if you are in danger, I hope you will prioritize your own safety. Do you understand? The Purple Dragon Valley Master said loudly as he landed in front of them. Yes. Everyone replied, All right, let's go. The Purple Dragon Valley Master and a few other elders flew into the air. Lu Ming and the rest followed behind them. Behind them were a large number of disciples of the Dragon God Valley who were there to watch. The venue of the treasure sorting convention was at the peak of the Tsang Mountain. There was a huge fighting stage there, surrounded by rows of seats. It was huge and could accommodate hundreds of thousands of people at the same time. When Lu Ming and the rest landed, a few other sects had already arrived. The Dragon God Valley randomly chose a seat and landed. There were thousands of people, but they only occupied a small area. Then, the other sects landed one after another. There were many of them, and each sect had thousands of people. Only the Life and Death Sword sect was an exception. All of them added up to less than 100 people. The Life and Death Sword sect had very few people to begin with. Swoosh, swoosh. The sound of something breaking through the air was heard. One by one, the sects landed. Heavenly Universe, Demon Sect, Heavenly God Sect, and so on. When the Heavenly Universe, Demon Sect arrived, Lu Ming looked over. Then, a trace of disappointment flashed in his eyes. He did not see Xian Yinqing. Mo Yang looked coldly at Lu Ming with a sinister smile on his face. In the direction of the Heavenly God Sect, Luo Shuihan also looked at Lu Ming with a cold gaze. Lu Ming saw Xian Yinjuan, but he was a little surprised. This was because Xian Yinjuan was sitting in the audience's seat, not the contestant's seat. Xian Yinjuan is not participating? 7 days ago, when Lu Ming saw Xian Yinjuan, he vaguely felt that Xian Yinjuan's cultivation was very profound. He was at least a half-saint, and his realm was even stronger than Lu Ming's. However, Xian Yinjuan hid it very well, so Lu Ming could not see through Xian Yinjuan's specific cultivation. With such a cultivation, why is he not participating? Lu Ming was a little puzzled. Every time the treasure sorting convention was held, only 10 sects would participate. The other 3 top sects had already been eliminated in the treasure sorting convention, but there was still a large number of people who came to watch. In addition to the 13 top sects, there were also some small sects and forces who came to watch. This was the biggest event in the Tsang state, which was held once every 3 years. Naturally, it attracted many people. That's the Divine Child. The Divine Child is here. Suddenly, someone let out a cry of surprise. Everyone looked over. The Divine Child was dressed in a white robe and bathed in holy light. He was like the son of a god, stepping on the air. He did not exude a strong aura, but he gave off a strong pressure. He stood high in the air above the battle platform, looking down on everyone like a god. He was extremely arrogant. Lu Ming, I hope you can pass the treasure sorting convention.